Hari is Ananta and his glories are Ananta. The same way the glories of our Gurudev are unlimited, especially when devotees start talking about him. They tend to get carried away because he's so amazing, so I can't blame them. But because of that, we're kind of cutting short on the bhajans and we'll squeeze a few bhajans in between. But we're going to start straight off with speaking, and obviously that's going to be Buddha Prabhu first. And
I'm worried that was going to happen.
Unless you tell me that you'd rather have Sudevi speak first, and it's okay, it's no problem.
Do you want to speak first?
No.
Just Gurudeva Gaura Chandaya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasudhi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Om Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Like I said, I was worried that I was going to be asked to speak. And so on the long drive up here, it's coming here, by the way, is a bit of a pilgrimage for us. And we left this morning at 10:15 in the morning, and we got here at 3:30 in the afternoon. So I had a long time to think about what to say. And I still feel very stumped, so I'm going to make my faulty try here. And I'm going to start by maybe asking a question. And think, if somebody asked you, could you describe the beauty of the universe? Could you describe the beauty of the universe? Where would you begin? I knew you were going to have an answer. Gurudev's eyes.
That's a very good start. But I'm gonna get going very slowly in that direction. I was thinking, how do you describe the beauty of the mountains and sunsets and the oceans and all the aquatics and the birds and the beasts and wonderful flowers in existence and the feeling of fresh air, wind blowing on your face when you're standing on the seashore. You could talk forever, and you wouldn't really be able to talk about the beauty of the universe completely. Lord Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, he makes the attempt to describe how he is the universe, different aspects different forms that he takes in the universe to help us deepen our connection with him through remembering that of aquatics he's the shark, and of mountains he's Meru, and the sun and the moon are his eyes, and so on. And after a long chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, at the end of it he says, of all these great things, even though I've described all of them to you, these are but a spark of my splendor. These spring from but a spark of my splendor. So I was thinking, well, how do you begin if we're stumped by describing the beauty of the universe? How do we begin to describe the beauty of the Vaishnava? How do we begin to adequately describe Sri Guru, who we hear is an ocean of mercy? We just sang that. He's an ocean of mercy, and he's an ocean of good qualities. So where do we begin? It's impossible to know where to begin. And as Prabhu was saying, we could talk all night long, all day long tomorrow, and all into the week. So in my meditation, I thought, well, what is the one thing that in my mind really stands out as a unique quality of Srila Gurudev? I could go into so many, and I'm going to leave all that to you. I know you're all going to do a wonderful job of describing his good qualities.
But I think the quality that stands out in my mind in recollecting him and remembering all of his pastimes is that he is in my mind, the embodiment of pure bhakti. And what does bhakti mean? Bhakti yoga, unlike all other forms of yoga, bhakti yoga is the yoga of relationships. Gurudev would often have that little aphorism that he would use all the time in talking with us. Love and affection, love and affection. That was the prescription. The proscription was do not criticize. And just these two pillars of his teachings, very simple as they are, they say volumes. And they point us in the direction of understanding that really being conditioned souls in the material world, we're trying to cultivate our relationship with the Supreme Lord by our service, through our service to Guru, through our service to Guru and Gauranga. And when I think of Srila Gurudev, I think of one really distinguishing quality which I know all of you have experienced. And it's that quality of when you walk into the room and you see him for the first time, or he sees you for the first time, you feel actually seen. Not your body, not your face, not your character, not the designer clothes you're wearing, whatever, however you're presenting yourself. You actually have that sudden awakening of soul, of actually being seen. Someone sees me. And because the soul, the Jivatma, has the same qualities of Krishna, but in minute particle, Krishna likes to be seen. So we also like to be seen. We also like to be recognized for who we are. We like to be appreciated for who we are. We like to be validated for what we do. And Gurudev's arrival in the history of Vaishnavism in the West in particular was very, very important because up until that time, the quality of relationships between devotees had been, let's say, affected somewhat negatively. You can fill in the blanks. Yeah. And I remember doing consultations for many, many devotees and coming away with the experience of recognizing how few devotees felt seen and how few devotees felt validated. They were looking for a place in the house of bhakti. And although they had a place in the house of bhakti, they felt a little bit outside of it. And when Gurudev came, he opened that door again for everybody. And it was marvelous to travel with him and see how everyone that he met, new persons, well-established older devotees, he would make them feel this quality of being seen, and everybody loved him for it. You have to love him because he recognizes who you are. And this quality of recognizing the self, I think, is an important part of bhakti, and it's an important part of his teaching and his mission. I remember a year before his departure, I had a conversation with him and Madhav Maharaj in his room in Govardhan. And he gave the example of him and his Bhaktivedanta Vaman Maharaj, Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Vaman Maharaj, and Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Maharaj. And he said that they were like one, that they had that kind of relationship, And that because they were so close with each other and so bonded to each other, that they were able to do so much. There was a synergy that developed as a result of them working together. And he said, please, whatever happens when I go, make sure that the same spirit of this loving relationship that I've had with them is carried on and adopted by everybody in the devotee community. So not unlike my own Diksha Guru Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and his departure, he asked one thing: please cooperate with each other. Please love each other. Please respect each other. And I saw that with Srila Gurudev. I remember being on a plane with him. We were flying to Vancouver to go to the Sharanagati village in British Columbia. I think we were coming from San Francisco, perhaps, I don't recall. And I had been given the task of responding to a paper that had been written about him, criticizing him in all kinds of interesting ways. Not quite as many ways as there are beautiful ways of describing the universe, but there were quite a few in there. So I had to take a forensic approach to the task. And I'm sitting in front of Gurudev, so I'm turning around, and Gurudev is right behind me, and I'm turning around, and I've got my pad, and I'm saying, so they're saying this about you, and they're saying that about you, and they're saying that about you, and I'm having to tell him what they're saying in an honest way. It's actually quite a painful experience, so that he could respond. And he said, no matter what they say, I love them. He said, they may cause some small inconvenience, but it's just like a mother holding the baby. The baby may urinate on the mother or pass stool on the mother, but the mother doesn't mind at all. So please tell them, please extend to them my heartily blessings. So, we live in a challenging world. Everybody's on Facebook wanting to be seen. And yet, even though we're all there, nobody feels seen. Everybody's walking around with a sense of isolation. We're lacking the love that our gurus and the Vaishnavas can give us. And my proposal in my meditation, and just picking one of the many unlimited numbers of qualities of Srila Gurudev, is that to reflect on this idea that if we really want to connect with him, if we really want to be with him, if we want him to be in our life, then we should do that for the person next to us, what he did for all of us. We should look at each other and see each other. Really see each other. See the soul. Krishna says, a wise man in the Gita, the sage, he sees with equal vision a cow, a dog eater. What to speak of amongst us, wonderful Vaishnavas. And my proposal is that with that kind of vision, we can encourage each other in our own bhakti. We can also create an attractive place for other people to come and taste what our Gurudev gave us. I'm just curious, before I end, which I'm about to end, how many here actually met Narayana Maharaj? Could I have a show of hands? All right, let me do it the other way. How many people did not meet Narayana Maharaj? So kind of half and half, really. So for those who didn't, for those who did, we should reach out to those who didn't and try to convey to them that same kind of spirit. And for those who didn't, pray hard that you also someday meet such an exalted spiritual master, because when you do on that day, you'll feel seen, and it'll be a joyful moment. Thank you.
Can everyone please move in? Nanda Sutta Prabhu wants to come in. Just joking. Mother Jagaton?
Gender parity. Yeah, man.
Yeah, but should be exalted devotee.
You may look younger than you seem.
I just wanted to, I feel so happy to be here. It feels like the Gangamatas have come back and our life has come back into England again. And I just wanted to thank everyone for the beautiful offerings that you gave last night, because I was online listening to them. Ramanath Prabhu, Pandarik Prabhu, Kamala Devi, Lalita, Raghunath gave some really beautiful offerings. It just really brought me back to my relationship with Gurudev. It made me reflect on how I came into the line of bhakti. Since I was a child, I was searching for knowledge of the truth, never finding any satisfaction by anyone in the line of Catholic priests that were supposedly preaching to me. Then going into impersonalism because I couldn't find the truth. And when Prabhupada came into my life, I mean, that was back in '74. I had no idea. I never even heard the word guru. I didn't have any idea of any concept of that word. I didn't know that you had to look for a guru. All I knew was I needed to understand the truth. So it wasn't that I was searching for a guru, but, you know, by causeless mercy, Srila Prabhupada came and found me and picked me up. And I was just reflecting on the nature of Sri Guru in this way, that very deep mood of compassion, which comes from Srimati Radhika herself, which inflames the heart of the Guru and makes him reach out and catch the conditioned souls who are just completely floundering and drowning in the ocean of material existence, but still wanting to find that truth. And and then I was reflecting on the tattva that Guru is one. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 4th canto, when it describes the death of King, what was the king in the 4th canto who died? Prabhupada describes the queen lamented for the death of her husband. She just broke down and cried and cried and cried. And Prabhupada in the purport said that this is the mood that the disciple feels when the spiritual master leaves. That it's almost like my life is finished now. How will I go on? And in that purport, Srila Prabhupada said that when the pure devotee, spiritual master, leaves, two things will happen. One of two things will happen to the disciple. Either the disciple is mature enough in bhakti that he will continue being guided by the spiritual master from within the heart. Or if the disciple is not mature enough, then Guru will send someone to help that disciple. So, like many of us have had this experience that, and I know we've said this many times, but after some years after Srila Prabhupada left this planet, there were devotees all over the world who were in their little corner crying and crying and crying and begging, Prabhupada, Krishna, please send someone to help me. So many of us had this experience. I remember Mula Prakriti describing this, how she was in Badger, and she and her husband had taken on the service of helping the devotees who were becoming a little bit dysfunctional, a little bit like not getting along with each other. Marriages were starting to break up. And she was thinking, we need someone to help us. So she asked one of the GBC members, will you come and help us? He was in charge of education, Jagadish Maharaj. And he said, I'm sorry, I don't feel qualified to help you. So in this way, she was praying, she was crying. I was back in the UK crying. I mean, all over the whole planet, we were crying. And then, I don't know if it was his first place to arrive, but Gurudev himself went to Badger, and he said, Prabhupada, Swamiji has sent me. So then this played out all over, and in so many different ways. So Gurudev was also the mercy blessing coming from Srimati Radhika, and so many things I wanted to say, but it's getting mixed up now. Oh, and so I remember when Gurudev first came, I had some blockages because of what I was hearing in ISKCON, and also because of things that were happening in my own life. But still, Gurudev, like, this is another example how the spiritual master, if you don't have that understanding, if you're not reaching out, the spiritual master reaches out to you. So Gurudev, despite my blockages, kept reaching out to me in so many ways. And I remember when we were first going to listen to him speak in Mathura, and it was I found very austere situation. The heat was unbearable. But anyway, I was sitting there, and I noticed while Gurudev was speaking that he kept looking at me for long periods of time. And I didn't understand what was going on. Only later, when I had spoken to some of the devotees, did I understand that he was giving me so much mercy just by that glance. He was, as you said, he was looking at me, and I was being seen. But I didn't realize that at the time. But after a little while, I understood that things were starting to change in my own heart. And I remember my temple president in Soho Street one time said to me, "You're a mercy case." So I thought, that doesn't sound like a compliment or anything. But I have...
It is actually.
Yeah, exactly. I have realized that time and time again, and really understood that I am totally a mercy case. And I remember also recently I've understood that, you can reach perfection by being Nitya Siddha, being eternally perfected, as the gopis and all the residents of Braj are, or by Sadhana Siddha, by performing your sadhana perfectly, or by Kripa Siddha. But what I've understood is that it's not possible. I mean, we try to do sadhana our best, but we're not going to make it on our own endeavors. I know I'm not. And Kripa Siddha is the only path for us, and that's what our Gurudevs are giving us, the mercy, the perfection through mercy. And that's all there is. It's all there is, I have to say. Sometimes I feel like I'm just hanging on a thread, but I know that my Gurudevs are still there somehow for me. And some of the beautiful stories that were told yesterday, some of the personal stories that devotees had, interactions with Srila Gurudev, reminded me of some things that I had with Gurudev. Like one time, we were standing in Puri, and there was a whole crowd of devotees around Gurudev, and like in a circle around Gurudev, and so one circle behind another, and I was probably in around the 7th circle behind, and I was thinking, and Gurudev was standing there and speaking to the devotees and looking at the different devotees very affectionately, and I was standing there in the back thinking, oh, I really wish Gurudev would look at me. And then all of a sudden he just turned his head and looked directly at me, and these kind of things that many devotees have had experiences like this. And anyway, if there's anything else. But there's, like you said, Vidarbha, there's just no way that we can fully glorify Srila Gurudev. We get so much mercy on this special day and the day of his appearance. Actually, we can feel that mercy every day, any day, by just connecting with him in our thoughts and our chanting, just by standing in front of his picture. Some pictures are very more powerful than other pictures, and I think this picture that the girls have here, and there's one really big picture of Gurudev in Rup Sanatan Mandir, where if you stand in front of it, you just feel Gurudev's presence and you feel him looking at you. So even if if your chanting is spaced out or whatever, you can still make that connection. And so there's so much to say, but thank you everyone for being here, and I really appreciate the association of all the devotees. Thank you. Jai Srila Gurudev.
Ki Jai.
I'm not being a wonderful MC because I'm not introducing every single person, but it's just because I'm time conscious. This is Jiva Prabhu. Everyone else is an amazing speaker as well, and I could go on and on about everyone, how wonderful they are, but as soon as they start speaking, you notice it, so that's my excuse for not introducing anyone.
I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual masters of language, Basic Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, forcibly opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. Offer my obeisances unto him. I offer thousands of times equal obeisances to His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaja, who saw my kripa withering and dying in the ocean of weeds and arthas, and sprinkled the desire for Radhadasyam and Manjari Bhav to revive my devotional service within. So 8 years ago, more or less, around this time, the earth had a very difficult time bearing the amount of tears that the devotees were shedding, as Srila Gurudev had closed his pastimes in this world and entered into his mutual love. And I was thinking equally when I was driving here from the other direction, how much I wanted to hear devotees. And I'm glad you mentioned that this is on, so now I'll look it up and hear what they said. Because devotees are like treasure chests, and in the treasure chests are these little jewels of magic moments which Srila Gurudev. A magic moment, how you describe it, is like when eternity is captured in a moment. You know, you have a moment with Gurudev and you have a glimpse of eternity, and it stays with you forever, it never leaves you. You want to share it, but you're afraid to share it because if you share it, you might lose it, because he used to say things like that, like camphor, like that. So there's so many wonderful memories that devotees have, and on these days, separations, festivals, we try to share those moments so that the fire of love is also kindled in the hearts of others as well. In the Vedic temple, excuse if some of these stories I've mentioned, devotees have heard me say it before, but there are people who have never been here. But just a few magic moments I remember with Srila Gurudev. I remember I went to the Badger, California, which is the westernmost side of California, where devotees were having regular festivals and inviting Gurudev to speak, and so many wonderful things happened there. But one of the things that happened to me in relation to Srila Gurudev, I had always wanted to be on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada. but I never had that opportunity. I didn't have that relationship. There was a wall of sannyasis around the Prabhupada that allowed certain devotees to do that and others not. And I never had that opportunity. But I had heard that every morning Srila Gurudev took a constitutional walk. And that the men were invited, and not that the men should feel proud about that, because later on Gurudev said, he asked the men, he says, why is it that I only allow the men to come on the walk and not the women? Although he would greet them at the end of the walks. And everyone was stumped for a second. He said, so that in the future my sannyasis cannot say that my Gurudev walked with the women, so I also can walk with women. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not that they're not qualified. I'm just trying to teach you by example. But anyway, after the walk, I was so excited. There were so many wonderful devotees asking so many questions, and when Gurudev came back and the ladies received him, there was also so many wonderful exchanges like that. So after a certain time in the morning, there was a time where devotees disappeared to be very quiet around Gurudev's house, to either take rest or catch up on rounds or whatever they did, or sleep after Prashadam. And the idea was that Gurudev was taking rest, so you had to be very, very quiet at that time. So it was very much like a ghost town at that time. And this was Badger, it's in Sierra Nevada, so it's very sunny, and this place had a swimming pool. And next to the swimming pool were these white wrought iron furniture, like iron table and chairs, but painted white. And then you moved a little bit, and there was like a little house for storage in Boga, and there was the kitchen, and then further down past the kitchen, I'm not good at yardage, but 50, 75 yards away was where Gurudev's room was, right?
10 years.
So, anyway, some distance, right? So I was sitting at this table, and I was looking at this blank page, and I was trying to write my appreciations to the Gurudev. I wanted to say, I always wanted to be on a walk. I wonder what that would have been like. Now I know what that's like. But at the time, I was looking at the page, and although there were so many thoughts and emotions, nothing was, not even dear Srila Gurudev, nothing was coming. I was sitting there, I don't know how long, the sun was very bright, and all of a sudden, I felt a shadow and a presence, and I looked, and Gurudev had left the room, however that yardage is, past the kitchen, came up the path, came up next to and behind me from his direction, and I turned, and he looked at me, and he smiled. He had his hand in his bead bag, and he looked at me, he looked at the page, he looked at me, and he went to my heart, then he went like this, then he went like that again, then he really hard into my heart, and then he walked away, and he went back into his room, and I thought, I would say this guru is super so heart-to-heart.com, so many. I was like amazed. And then I thought, well, maybe I was disturbing him. I was making too much noise trying to hear waves, like that. So I better go away, like that. So that was one of these moments, where I realized that, you had this unique ability to hear you if you're within and you're trying to express something like that. So anyway, zooming many years later to a different memory, because Bhaktivedanta is here, and I had went to Germany with her son in the car, and we had wonderful revealing of minds and all that. He was like a son to me anyway, had an uncle like that. And we were talking so much. Anyway, we went to Germany, and he was in a play, and there were so many things going on, and like that. And somehow or other, at a certain point, I was asked to speak. And somehow or other, because it wasn't really rehearsed, it just sort of bubbled up from I don't know where. The Vaishnavas and Srila Gurudev, they come and they give everything and end up taking anything, they're not asking for anything. And I said, but that's not true. I said, don't believe that, it's a lie. And when I said that, there was like a ripple in the audience. Some people were taking like, what's he? Has he joined the Aparad camp? The offensive camp? Has he, defected? Is he going to come out with? And I said because actually, very much like we're warned in the scriptures, don't go to the bank of the Jamuna to look at Krishna, because if you go, then you lose your mind and your heart and like that. And so many people saying, don't go to listen to Gurudev. And they're right, because if you go to listen to Gurudev, then very much like the fruitwala lady, her fruit would turn to jewels. But she went so mad, she threw her jewels in Jamuna, like that, afterwards, after seeing Krishna. So pretty much, whatever your material ambitions were, or whatever your taste for material life was, or you could pretty much throw that out the window. And whatever, you experience in terms of love in your life, it's not going to compare after, you just pretty much going to be. And I didn't come out in that much detail, but basically I said, he's going to come and he's going to take everything. And he's going to be left with nothing, like that. So some devotees got it, some devotees were like, oh, what's wrong with you? What's he saying? But afterwards, when Gurudev was leaving the Vyasasana, and he saw me, and how when Gurudev decides he wants to be with someone, he pushes Madhava Maharaja on the side, he just be right. And he whispered something in my ear, which, for fear of using it like camphor, I won't repeat exactly. It was only 4 words. But just like Udara Prabhu was saying that by a glance, so many things is carried. Or with Gurudev, with a few words, so many. It was like Prabhupada used to say, absolute truth spoken concisely is true eloquence. So Gurudev, in the same way, with just a few words, would be saying so much, And when he said that, I thought to myself, like you said, not only did I feel like I was seen, but he knew all of my past lives. He knew exactly where I was now, and he knew where I was going. And not only that, I felt he's encouraging me. He is accepting that I have faith in him. But he's also telling me that he has faith in me, that I'm going to achieve the goal. And that no matter what my anarthas are, or my difficulties is, he just said that you're going to make it. And indirectly he was saying with those 4 words, I got it, I understood, and I like this mood because inner meanings are part of what I, try to reveal in discussions about Braj and like this. And I like that, I like that one. He was telling me, if your aim was to please me, I was pleased. I got it, And so many things. But the thing is, in those few words, has actually carried me for so many years. I don't know how many years it's been since that festival, but I've never forgotten it. And I realized that everyone else may abandon you, but Srila Gurudev will never abandon you. And if you haven't had personal association with Srila Gurudev, you can have personal association. Heart to heart, he will enter your heart, and you just have to want it. That's the other thing. He was saying to me in these few words that I accept that you want, but I want you to want more. I want you to be really greedy about it. It's hard to describe without giving away the few words, but I'm keeping those few words. But the effect is, and I constantly have these realizations just from those few words. So much so that recently the audio team, they're sending me tapes to listen to and to make notes about and all that. And one tape that they sent to me, which I just listened to a couple of days ago, Srila Gurudev was on a parikama with a really small group of people. You can tell it's one early lady, Naveen Krishna, before he was sannyasi, and they're on parikama because you can hear the peacocks in the back, and Gurudev's making references to specific places like that. But at one point in the tape, Gurudev speaks about Uddhava Maharaj, and how he trained to Mathura, from Mathura to Vrindavan, to see the residents of Raj. And he talks about Nanda Baba, and he said Uddhava saw that Nanda Baba was lamenting. And Nanda Baba was saying, I have no love for Krishna. So many have love for Krishna, and he cites so many, but I have no love for Krishna. And then Nanda Baba says the proof is Dasarath. He refers to Ram Lila, when Ram is banished to the forest, and very soon afterward, Dasarath dies of a broken heart. So Nanda Baba said, that's why he had love, because he couldn't maintain his life. But here I am, somehow maintaining my life. So I have no love like that. And then Gurudev went on to give like little gems that I've never heard before. In this conversation, he was talking about the gopis and Radharani. And he said, one gopi declared, Gurudev was saying, he says, who is this? Referring to Uddhava Maharaj. He's Shyam, he's black, like Krishna. He's got golden dhoti like Krishna, he's dressed like Krishna. But there's no flute. So there's no way he can be Krishna. Because in Mathura he may get on without a flute, but here he has to have a flute. So he can't possibly be Krishna. There must be some mere messenger of Krishna. Yeah? And then Gurudev is saying, another gopi picks up on the criticism. Anyway, I forget, there's several gopis and then eventually Radharani. And some of these things I'm going to say, not going to attribute to some of the other gopis as Radharani. It's not fresh in my mind. But he was saying that he observed when Srimati Radharani was speaking, that she was speaking to him indirectly and with double meaning because she was speaking to a bumblebee that appeared. But before she began to speak, Uddhava Maharaj noticed that he wasn't sure whether she was alive because she was laying there, and to see if she was actually alive, he had to take cotton wool and put it under her nostrils. And then Gurudev said that Srimati Radharani spoke in a very lean voice. He used the word lean voice. And then Radharani was saying things like this. She noticed the bumblebee, and the bumblebee has some gold stripes. And she also noticed that Uddhava Maharaj was bedecked with golden gauntlets, ankles, belt. He was wearing lots of gold armbands. So she's criticizing the bumblebee and Uddhava at the same time and talking about Krishna. And she says, oh, you're a messenger and you have all this gold. And he says, what are you trying to say? That Krishna now has more opulence than Nanda Maharaj? Because you are bedecked in so much gold? And then, as Gurudev was saying this, so many things, he was indicating that Radharani was being sarcastic, because who could be more opulent than Nanda Maharaj? Because real opulence is measured in milk and tea and cows and flowers and besides, all of these cows, their hooves are decorated with gold, their horns are decorated with gold, and aside from all of that, they're kamadenu. They can fulfill any desires, and in fact, every particle in Darwin's Chintamani is wish fulfilling. So what is this Krishna boasting by sending a messenger all full of gold, trying to say that he's more opulent now as the king of Mathura, by sending this messenger all dressed in gold? You're trying to say that you have so much opulence you can send a messenger dressed in gold, but actually, next to the opulence of Vrindavan, all of the opulence of Vaikuntha doesn't even fit on one speck of dust in Vrindavan. So, this other gopi, not Radharani, she said, oh, we have heard that the king of Mathura, Kamsa, he's died. So now there has to be a Srila ceremony for him. There has to be a fire sacrifice for the ceremony to be complete. And so this messenger has come to collect tinder, wood, tinder, where they use the word tinder, for that fire sacrifice. But it's very hard to find any trees in Mathura, what to speak of tinder. So he sent this messenger to Vrindavan. And actually this messenger is coming because he knows that although we appear to be alive, our hearts are broken and they're drying up like tinder. So he's come, not only has Krishna broken our hearts by leaving, now he's sending a messenger to collect the tinder of our hearts, to burn in the fire of the Srila ceremony can come. So Gurudev is saying, I never heard these things, but these like details. It's just with a few devotees. The next thing he's continuing to Radharani. She is saying, my mind is gone black. Maybe Gurudev is saying I'm going over time. Anyway, I've lost it. I'm very sorry. The channel's been turned off, so yeah. I know I have more to say, but it's gone out. But I just want to end with, Gurudev understood this mood of separation so well, and understood the details of what happens in the spiritual world so well. And on a day like this, we should pray to Gurudev to give us a drop of that understanding of love and separation. Hare Krishna. Much love to
Can everybody move up a little bit, please, in this direction, forward? That would be great. This, everybody 1 meter to this, to the right.
1 meter?
Thank you.
A meter is a long distance, you know.
Om Janturmandasya Ganjana Salakya Chakshon Militam Yena Ashmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadata Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. There's some advantages and disadvantages of going first, Badara. Because when you're fourth up, there's been such a waterfall of delicious, sweet nectar and heartfelt sharing that it triggers off so many more things in your mind that whatever you had prepared on your drive, mine isn't as long, it's kind of gone out the window. It's like all this water is just cascaded into three waterfalls of water. It's like cascaded into the crater of the waterfall itself, and it's just smashing together. And my heart just feels like it wants to go in about 9 different directions at once. I think that's what this evening is all about. It's about sharing about our beloved Srila Gurudev to inspire and re-inspire us and carry us through the whole of 2019 until we meet again in this same setting. Standing in front of everybody, I have contrary feelings, which anyone who's been in bhakti for more than a few seconds understands contrary feelings are actually not a bad thing. And the contrary feeling is that, on the one hand, one feels incredibly safe as a heart in front of everybody else, because it doesn't actually matter. Someone said earlier that Guru is one, Guru Tattva is one. I think it was Jagaton. So true. Gurudev always encouraged us to respect all other gurus. I mean, it's like, yes, you always think you've got the best guru, but every other guru is also the best simultaneously. It's part of the whole Achintya Bheda and Bheda Tattva philosophy. But there's a real safety in being a devotee. You stand in front of each other and you know that everybody else has had their own different but same version of your experience, so you feel kind of held. That's why sometimes, depending on the nature of the relationship you have with non-devotees, you can only share up to a certain extent of your experience in Krishna consciousness. But at the same time, as feeling that security, one also stands up here feeling extremely exposed, like naked, vulnerable, because you're also aware, as a devotee, you're more aware of where you haven't gone, more than you are aware of where you have come from and where you've arrived at this point in time. It's kind of like, in one sense, I mean, I came to Krishna consciousness originally in 1995. I had a wonderful induction from Budara, who personally somehow managed to trick me into Krishna consciousness very expertly.
So easy.
I know, you were especially chosen. I was definitely a hard nut to crack.
But you got there.
Yeah, well, getting there.
In a big way.
But the going along this path, you kind of wake up every day and you don't think you've actually made any progress because you're not calibrating your progress. It's not something that's quantitative. There's not a bhakti praying points on the wall, is there? So you kind of go through, 20 years goes by and you think, wow, you look around, everyone's made so much progress. Have I made any? You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. And then at the same time, you suddenly have a conversation in the back of an Uber car or something, or with some stranger, and stuff comes out and you go, wow, where did that come from? Because it certainly didn't come from me. It always comes from Srila Gurudev. I want to share with you a little, I want to mix what I say with some tattva, some ras, and some personal experience. I spent Christmas Day with my mum. We cooked together. It was great. She had promised me that I was going to be chef and she'd be sous chef. Didn't work out quite that way. So the next day, my sister had organized a family get-together on Boxing Day at a big Chinese restaurant. Now, anyone knows Chinese restaurants? It can be like sitting in an abattoir, right? It's pretty disgusting. Anyway, I did everything possible to avoid it, and I didn't go. Bad boy. I didn't turn up. But as I was contemplating, actually I saw a video about Jesus, about this guy, fantastic guy called Bethke. He's an American preacher. And he was saying how I love Jesus and hate religion. I thought, wow, this guy actually gets Mahaprabhu, right? Because Mahaprabhu is like the personal version of that. I mean, unbelievable. And I thought to myself, and I sort of hit something connected in what he was saying to me with my experience of Srila Gurudev and Mahaprabhu. And I thought, there's something missing in my heart, in my relationship with my sister. I thought to myself, because the next day what actually happened was I called my mum up, sort of anticipating how Boxing Day would be really awful. And she would share with me how bad it was, and I would be delighted how bad it was, right? You know what I mean? That's kind of how it goes. And then as I got off that call from my mum, I thought, wow, that's really disgusting. Like, what a crap heart. And I thought, I can't, and this is what Gurudev does to you, because he lives inside of you. It's like a beautiful room. If you go inside a beautiful room and you make some mess, you can't leave the mess, right? You've got to clear it up. I'm looking at you. Sorry. You can't leave the mess in the beautiful room. Gurudev is living in our hearts. And if you find something that really kind of a bit smelly in your heart, you have to get rid of it. You have to do something about it. It's like it breaks open. It's got to get out. It's got to get sorted. So I thought, we're in the modern age. Quick WhatsApp, how are you? That's not going to do it. Maybe an email? Nah. So I got a good old pen and paper. 6 pages later, I had expressed to her, because she believes in God. She's in the Jewish line. And I said, honestly speaking, you believe in God, I believe in God. And if I died today and I was standing in front of God, and he or she was looking at me going, well, did you get the lesson? Did you sort out your relationship with your sister? Well, I didn't really try hard enough. I didn't try hard enough. So I wrote that to her. And I wrote 6 pages of a letter in that sentiment. There's nothing about Krishna in there, nothing about Gurudev, but it was completely inspired by Srila Gurudev's love. And she wrote back to me immediately the next day. The letter got there very quickly. And she said, that was such a beautiful letter. Let's meet up for lunch next week, which is this week, so I'm going to meet her in a couple of days. So this is how Srila Gurudev we're on such an esoteric level on one level, but on another level, Srila Gurudev lived, it's like Vidara was saying earlier, it's about being seen. So I suppose the theme I'm talking about is about, one of our acharyas said, someone told me who it was, who said, if we do not share our Krishna consciousness with other people, and that doesn't always mean you talk about Krishna when you share your Krishna consciousness. Sometimes sharing Krishna consciousness, as I do with my mum who doesn't believe in God, is just loving my mum, right? So he said, if you don't share your Krishna consciousness with others, you're a miser. Yeah? So when you have Gurudev in your heart, Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta, Narayana Goswami Maharaj in your heart, there's no concept of whether have I been mean or not, am I being generous or not. He's so explosive, he's so volcanic in his heartly love and his love and affection that you are compelled to share that love. Otherwise you die. There's no stasis. There's no point of stillness in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a very restless process. Your heart doesn't just suddenly stop in some kind of nirvana zen. Quite the opposite. It's restlessly seeking more explosive experiences of love for Radha and Krishna, for Mahaprabhu, for Guru, and thus with our fellow jivas. That's what it's all about. And I was contemplating this over the last couple of days, and I was thinking, for me, having a relationship with Radha and Krishna is pretty distant. I'm a neophyte devotee. For some people in this room, they've had some deeper insights. It's not an easy thing to connect with, and because of my ignorance, not their lack of availability, there can be disconnection. So you think of Mahaprabhu, you think of Lord Nityananda, and because some of you know I like my maths, so I did a quick calculation, recalculate. I've done this before, where I worked out how many years it is since Mahaprabhu disappeared. And then I divided that by the number of years in the day of Brahma, and converted that into a 24-hour day. Yeah? And worked out, any guesses, and if you've heard it before, don't spoil it, how many hours in a day is it since Mahaprabhu disappeared? If the day of Brahma was one single day. Any guesses?
2 minutes.
How many?
2 minutes.
2 minutes from my friend on the right. Any other takers? Yashashini? No?
A few seconds, maybe.
What? Oh, getting to 1 second.
A few seconds.
2 seconds. It's actually
1.2.
4 milliseconds. Yes. I'll say that again. Mahaprabhu disappeared in 1534 AD, which in the day of Brahma, given that we're all eternal, the day of Brahma is actually not very long, right? So let's take the day of Brahma as our instrument. He disappeared 4 milliseconds ago. Wow, that's outstanding. Isn't that outstanding? That means literally each one of us is basking in the volcanic eruption of his love, which erupted 4 milliseconds ago. Right? We are truly connected. I'm just tingling thinking how outrageously fortunate I am to be amongst you, thanks to Vidara, overflown with love from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'm just a bit of an idiot sometimes not realizing it, right? And the difference between Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya is Lord Chaitanya gives you mercy if you ask for it. Nityananda gives you mercy even if you don't ask for it. So either way, God's coming for you, right? Yeah, we're not searching for God. He's searching for us every millisecond of every day. Just some of us are tougher nuts to crack than others. But as Jagatam said, I'll expand it to the first person plural, we're all mercy cases. And it's only our acceptance and acknowledgement that we're a mercy case that gives us access to the mercy. There's actually in some ways nothing to do. We just have to be ready to receive. So if Mahaprabhu disappeared 4 milliseconds ago, I hadn't done this next calculation. How long ago, this is especially important for those of you who didn't meet Srila Gurudev, how long ago was it since Srila Gurudev disappeared from this planet. It's almost infinitely small. Essentially, he's here, right? It's extraordinary. So we're really touched and we're really blessed. And Srila Gurudev, I mean, I could rant on all night about how personal stories about him, but there's just a couple of ones I want to touch on. And what I want to be present to is how ever-presently, infinitely, abundantly, volcanically beautiful his love was, unceasing, like the description of Bhakti itself, unrelenting, unceasing. That love was totally constant and unconditional. And if I can take a little bit of that, remember he loves me, and share it with a few other people, then my life is successful on a daily basis. It has to be shared daily, every day. Try to pray that you have an opportunity to share it in some way. So, Jagatam inspired me just to mention, and also Jiva Pavana was talking about Badger. I mean, literally, I can remember the chair, the table, everything, the whole, it's like in my, yeah. But I remember when, because he went to America after he came to the UK, after it was Holland and UK, then America. So there'd already been a lot of controversy. And there was a lot of opposition to Srila Gurudev. So Badger was a big deal. He went to the temple in Badger, and it was, you know, you kind of had like, I imagine the kind of guys that were like, in today's terms would be the Trump supporters in the back. Right? They all had their arms folded, they look a bit aggressive. You know? And, you know, they were not going to take this, they weren't going to drink the Kool-Aid of this bogus guru in their minds. Then you had the acolytes in front, you know, the people who invited Gurudev to America, they were like, oh God, is anyone going to talk to us again, you know? And then you had the people in the middle. It was extraordinary watching Srila Gurudev masterfully, and I go back there sometimes to relive it. He was beyond masterful in that room. Firstly, he gave everything to Srila Prabhupada. You could see his ability to connect to the audience through Srila Prabhupada was extraordinary. And secondly, I could see as he was receiving so much respect, he was giving it immediately all the time to his guru. One of the definitions of a perfect pure devotee is that he is a perfect spiritual master, is that he's also a perfect devotee. So the way I saw him not take anything for himself, he took it and he gave it all to his guru. And just then, thirdly, just seeing that room shift imperceptibly from being neutral to opposing, everybody just falling in love with Srila Gurudev. You know, he had the most beautiful, radiant blue eyes that just shone through you. So that was one extraordinary experience with Srila Gurudev. And then the final one, before I wrap up and hand over to someone else, some other beautiful jiva, is I won't say this if lots of people heard it. Who's heard about the muffin story? Yeah, okay, a lot of people haven't. Okay, the muffin story. Is that okay? The muffin story is really cute. This really encapsulates so much about Srila Gurudev. So, I don't know where this occurred, but it was normal when you met Srila Gurudev, you'd give him something, right? I mean, what he wanted, I remember once in Nairobi.
Hawaii, I'm being told.
Hawaii was it? I remember once, he said, he was trying to tell me, my ex-wife, I'm not interested in anything from you guys, he literally brought out a toy heart. Yeah? It was so beautiful. But on this occasion, some devotee had brought him a very tasty, juicy muffin. Big, fat muffin. And Srila Gurudev always had a little battle with Madhav Maharaj, because Madhav Maharaj was always very strict. What time he could sleep, what he could eat, what he couldn't eat, etc., etc. And yeah, there was no way he was having that muffin. So Madhav Maharaj told him, you know, just don't have that muffin. So Srila Gurudev was, you know, being very obedient to Madhav Maharaj, of course. So that night, after all the activities of the day, Madhav Maharaj took the tray out with Brajanath and they were cleaning it. And the muffin was still there. But when they came to mop up the tray, they realized that the muffin was still there on its outside, but the whole of the inside had been excoriated and eaten by somebody. Yes, typical Gurudev. So this shows you a few things I extract from the story. One is that Gurudev was a complete mischief maker, and he loved teasing people, and he always had to, I think he said, I need to cry and laugh every day, which I think he succeeded at doing. The other thing that was very beautiful is that even though it was against his health regime, he once said, I've never eaten anything, I've only honored prasad. He always would honor prasad and honor the gift of a devotee to him as ultimate reciprocation. And the third one, which is a little metaphor I made up for myself, was that that's what he does to us. We may look different, we may look the same on the outside, we may still be in the male body or in the female body, we may look a bit older, but on the inside, it totally changes us. Our heart is totally transformed, like the muffin, totally different on the inside. And all the nonsense is emptied so that the flow of bhakti can, like that waterfall I was saying at the beginning, can flow in. So let's all be receptacles of that water into the waterfall of love in our heart and receive the blessings of Srila Gurudev and share it around like generous people every day. Haribol. Jai.
We're all experiencing Srila Gurudev's presence in the speeches of the devotees. There are so many ways how we still experience Gurudev's presence. One of Gurudev's special forms is also the Gaudiya Mat. There's something special about all the Gaudiya Mats. They're usually very small, but you can fit a lot of people in. I guess you know what I'm trying to say. There's still a lot of people out there, and this magical room can actually fit more people. So if we can all squeeze in more, we'll manifest more space. So we still have quite a few speakers. Yashashwini Didi is here, the Baladev Prabhu, Charu Chandrika Didi is there, Gaurachan Prabhu is hiding on the stairs, Nandasuta Prabhu is here. But just like I said at the beginning, Sudevi had the choice to either speak before her dad or after. And we just want to squeeze one more in before we go and do some kirtan to change up the energy and do the end of it. So we're going to ask Sudevi to say something. If everyone's okay with that.
I really don't know what I'm going to say. I've been trying to think for the last few days of if this happened, what would I say?
It's happened.
and during that entire time, like, no words came. I'm here now, and it's a bit silly, but I remembered one thing while I was thinking, and I couldn't forget this one thing that I remembered, which is that years ago, I think I was about 11 years old, my sister and I were in a car with Shamapriya, who used to live in Bath, and we were driving somewhere at night, and a Janet Jackson song came on the radio, and I won't sing it.
Aww.
But the lyrics were, everywhere I go, every smile I see you are there, smiling back at me. Dancing in moonlight, I see you are free, because I can see your star shining down on me. And that song came on and she just started crying. And she said that every time she hears that, it reminds her of Gurudev. And a few days ago when I was trying to think, I was like, how can I even glorify Gurudev? I feel like a few years ago it was easier, and then as I get older it becomes harder, because I feel like the memories I once had where I could share, or where I felt like I had some realization, now I feel like it's not a realization at all. And what are those memories if I can't apply the essence of them to my life? So how can I even speak on what I've so-called experienced due to his mercy, but that song kept coming back, and then I had it stuck in my head for days. But it made me really happy because it made me realize that maybe that's all I can try to do is see Gurudev everywhere, in the face of every person, in the stars, in nature, in absolutely everything, and especially in every life situation that happens, in my ability to somehow succeed or feel like I'm trying in bhakti, and even in my inability to progress in bhakti. Gurudev's there. He really is, and I think, I don't know about anyone else, but I feel so grateful to be here today. And with every person that offers that Puspanjali, I feel he's even like more in this room. And just as how we're told that real darshan of Krishna is through our ears, real darshan of Gurudev is through our ears as well, and hearing about him from the Vaishnavas. And I don't want to keep talking because I don't feel like I really don't have anything of value to say, but I just want to pray to Gurudev that no matter what happens in my life, and no matter how capable or incapable I am, that he allows me to see him at all times, in all ways, and especially through my ears, by always being present and listening with attention, concentration, and submission to his glories of the Vaishnavas and the glories of Radha Krishna. And it's my only hope. So,
While we're talking about songs, we're going to do a song now. As everyone is offering their hearts to Srila Gurudev, everyone's going to get a chance to offer their hearts in the form of flowers as well, but those that get to speak do it in a different way, they don't get a flower. I'm going to sing one song now, Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, which is a very wonderful song expressing the separation by Narottam Das Thakur of Srila Rupa Goswami Rupa Manjari, and how with those very same eyes he wants to see her. So it's a very deep song, and I remember when I sing it by myself, I usually end up falling asleep, or it doesn't have the same effect. But when you sing it together with the devotees, especially those that are feeling these moods of separation for Sri Guru, then as there is meeting and separation, we can meet Sri Guru in this song. So no pressure on the brother. Here you go. Page 50. Yeah, can we have the stand?
Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Se Mora Sampada one thing, so I just thought of something because Jiva Pavanath was sitting. I remember one time as a very new devotee driving in Jiva Pavanath's car, and he was talking about. I think he was talking about like why some people were criticizing Srila Gurudev, and then on your car stereo came Gurudev singing Sharupa Manjari Pada, and you just went, "That is so beautiful." How if you hear that, how can you possibly say anything about Srila Gurudev? Because that is, I always remember that.
Glad you did, because my memory is dying.
One side.
Thank you.
Just.
Thank you.
I got this.
First of all, our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, Narayana Maharaja, and all the Guru Bhagya and assembled devotees. I'm not qualified to say anything because I'm a really serious mercy case. Recently, well actually last couple of years after, when I get up in the morning and before I start my japa, I always say three certain prayers, and one of them is Shirada Kripa Kakya Bandhana. Oh Radha, when you give me your glass of mercy on me. So so one day I was reflecting upon this, and the incident happened actually in '92. I just joined the backward course at Bhaktivedanta Manor, and there was controversial things going on with Maharaj. And the Bhakti leader and I, we were sent on a mission in Radley, and he was in the car on the far side of Radley, and I was up the post office end, and I knew that the Maharaj was staying in Radley at the time, and I was thinking, I'd like to go up there and sneak in and have darshan. But I thought, no, there's too many spies around here. And so I was saying this, I turned around, and the curtain opened where he was staying, and he gave me his darshan for about 2 minutes through the window. And I was just thinking, yes, that we cannot approach Radharani directly. We have to go through the Manjaris. And through that glance of Narayana Maharaj, I know now that I received the glance of Srimati Radharani. And to follow on, just to add a little thing more, was that Devi Mataji said, there's one song that reminds me of what pure bhakti is, or what pure devotee is one song by Neil Young, Heart of Gold. And every time I hear that, I always think of the heart. My heart is looking for a pure devotee that is like a heart of gold. And then I wouldn't advise hearing it, but no, it's. Actually, I know the words. Anyway, that song is it always reminds me of the heart of that I should be. That my heart, I'm looking for a heart of gold, and that can only come with the merciful glance of a pure devotee. Hare Krishna.
Sorry, can everyone move up?
lots of room here. We just kind of squeeze up.
Especially on that side, because they're very squashy. Everyone should shy to
No, they're not. There's more space over there.
There's a good meter of space that you can create.
We're close enough, guys.
Everybody's on empty stomachs, so it should be fun.
Apart from him.
Okay, that's not the same, is it?
Now there's not enough people coming.
Why are you
Yeah,
trying to
who do we make space for?
Yeah, they're still people.
But they're not coming.
No, they're not. They're sitting in the stairs.
You lied to us, didn't you?
Why?
Where are those people you promised us? ¿Qué vota aquí? What? It's David.
For my respect for the basis, first to Srila Prabhupada, to Srila Gurudev, to all the Vaishnavas. Apologies for not being here for so long. I've just been so many things going on, programs as well.
Sure.
And so, but I think about you all a lot. We're all family. So, yeah, today's a very special day. This morning I sat down and I just, whatever came into my head, I just wrote like that. So I'm just going to sort of hop through it, ad-lib a bit, like that. But somebody phoned me up actually after I had written things down this morning, one of Gurudev's disciples, and she was telling me this thing that somebody had sent to her, which was very interesting. I remember Gurudev himself saying it. He said, it's the special way, he said, to observe the Viraha Titi of the, the day of the Guru seemingly disappearing. So he said, on the Viraha Titi, the disappearance day of the Guru or the previous acharyas, the Sat Shishya, the true disciple, meditates upon the transcendental qualities of these Mahapurushas, and he vows to employ their instructions in his life as far as possible. If there is no such contemplation, for example, if one is only busy with arranging for different kinds of nice Mahaprasad, then it is not pure Viraha Mahotsav. So that doesn't apply to the girls in the kitchen here, because they're absorbed. But this actually is a very important instruction, because it's saying that we should meditate on who the Guru is and what he's come to give us. Why did he even come here to this planet? What was the purpose? All these things we should meditate very deeply, not just on this day, actually on every day. But so, yeah, I was thinking how the Guru, as we know, he never disappears. Actually, it's like we give the example of him passing the window. We see him, then we don't see him, but he's never disappeared. And I was thinking how this wisdom that they bring, it's actually like a timeless wisdom, and it's for all time, and it's for every second of our life. And so as long as we are trying to follow these instructions, then actually the Guru is with us at every second. He never disappears at all. This is actually, he's the embodiment of those timeless instructions. So he's always with us all the time. So then, in the Srimad Bhagavatam at the beginning, it's actually teaching us what is reality, distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all beings. So actually, in a very simple format, this is what our gurus have brought for us. Because every one of us, we're born into this world, and as we grow up, we have a name, we have a family, we have a country, we have a religion, we have a job, we have a hobby, and we take this as our identity. Even after we've met Guru, we still, because every day it's being drummed into us, because we have to work, we have to act in a certain situation. So this is a false identity, but it's so inherent in our hearts, actually, with the system that surrounds us and with the way we've been brought up in previous lives. So this false identity is very, very strongly there. So our gurus are coming, and especially Srila Gurudev, he gave so many details of actually where we belong. And he gave such beautiful, deep, deep stories, actually. And he actually told us more details than anybody else has ever told us. Actually, he was, what was the word? He was not thought well of always, both in India and in the West, because he gave us so much, actually. He gave so much information that had never been given by anyone before. And he said that he wanted this put in the books. He actually said, I have an MP3 at home, he said, many of my followers actually surgery, he said. But he gave such high knowledge because he said he didn't want it to be lost. Because we have been given the highest understanding of reality there is, and actually where we belong, and what to do, the step-by-step process of how to get there. We're just reading Gangamatas at the moment in one of the reading groups, and it's the complete step-by-step process. We can see where are we on the path, you know, what am I not doing, what weeds need pulling out, what am I doing, you know, what thoughts are correct, and such beautiful, beautiful stories that actually, it's like everybody's looking for love. Everybody wants to give love fully and receive love fully. So actually, that's because our soul is actually meant to be in the situation where we give and we get that. And in this world, unless we have a relationship that's centered around Krishna and Radharani and Guru, we actually can't get that. So this Guru is bringing us actually real life, our real identity, our real everything. Who else is giving us this? Most of the time we follow false materialistic gurus, telling us, buy this, you'll enjoy. I heard a very interesting thing, Russell Brand, he's actually taken shelter with some devotees, and he's, sometimes you see him on the YouTube. He said a very interesting thing. He said, addiction, we should talk about addiction in a different way. Because he said those people in this world who are addicted to things, he said it's actually because they can't accept just to live the dead life that there is going on in this world. And they're hankering so much for something more, something alive, something real, that they start taking things and become addicted trying to find it. And he said actually, so we have to look at addiction in a different way, because it's actually the soul hankering for that real live, you know, full of excitement, the real life and joy of the soul, you know, in this way. So this is actually what Gurus brought us. So there was something very sweet that I read in the beginning of, let me find it, in the beginning of Bhaktivedanta Maharaj's biography by Srila Gurudev. Sorry, I'm just listening half of this out. Let me find it. It was very, very beautiful. He was saying, here it is. This is really, really beautiful. Param Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj in 1948 in Mayapur at Navadvip Dom Parikrama. It was at Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's Samadhi, and he was crying, he was grief-stricken, and he was just really crying and crying. And he said this really beautiful thing. He said, Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna is supremely merciful. And he said, Sri Gaurasundar, who is non-different to Krishna, is also supremely merciful. He said, Nityananda Prabhu is the deity of mercy personified. And Sriman Mahaprabhu's assistants, the 6 Goswamis, are also causelessly merciful. These things I have heard. He said, without a doubt, I, Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, he said, I was present in one form or another during their time. He said, but no one bestowed mercy upon me. He said, because they knew me to be extremely heinous and sinful. But my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, pulled me up by the hair. I am such a fallen wretch, such a great materialist with an uncontrolled nature, but he has made me a dust particle at his lotus feet. He who is even more exalted than the Lord himself, due to his causeless mercy, has today made me his own. So this is actually what our gurus are doing for us. It's actually incredibly deep, loving. Who can give like this? You know? So these things are very, very, we have so much gratitude actually to them, so much. And the one beautiful thing I was reading recently, which actually tied in with Srila Gurudev, I didn't know at the time. I was reading in the Anjalila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada's one, my Srila Prabhupada's one. And it was very beautiful. It was talking about Mahaprabhu when he was in Puri. And it was saying that he would send one of his associates for 2 months to where his mum was and all the other devotees, and he would send prasad. It said he was the gem of all lovers of mothers, because he would always send Mahaprasad for his mum and beautiful messages. And he sent one time, there was an outfit Lord Jagannath had worn, I think it was the Ganesh one, I think, and he sent that to her. So he was always getting in touch. And so someone went, and for 2 months they were there. When they were coming back to Mahaprabhu again, Mahaprabhu, Advaita Acharya at that time, because Advaita Acharya had called Mahaprabhu to come to this world, to, you know, give the power to save everyone. So he sent the message with this person going back to Mahaprabhu that everyone is now mad. There is no more need more to sell rice in the marketplace. And this is a message from one madman to another. Because he was meaning everyone now has Krishna prem, they all become mad in ecstasy. No need to be selling in the marketplace anymore, holy name, whatever. And from one madman at Advaita Acharya to another to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he took this message back, and as soon as Mahaprabhu got this message, Mahaprabhu realized, oh, Advaita Acharya called me to this world, now he's telling me it's time for me to leave. So it said then, when he heard that, his intense separation actually doubled. And he went very deeply internal, and he became very much into Radharani's mood. And so then in Radharani's mood, he was feeling so much pain, and he was saying, oh Providence, and this is in Radharani's mood, oh Providence, you're so cruel. You put people together, and before they're satisfied, you separate them. You're so cruel. This is not right. And then, oh no, but Providence, I didn't have a relationship with you. I had a relationship with Krishna. It's not you that's cruel. Krishna's the one who's cruel. And then she said, oh, but no, Krishna can never be cruel. Actually, this is all my own past sinful activities. Because of my own past things, this way I'm separated. Then it said, in grief-stricken words, then Mahaprabhu, in Radharani's mood, started to say, Govinda, Damodar, Madhava, Govinda, Damodar, Madhava, which brings us to Gurudev. Govinda, Damodar, Madhaveti,
Govinda, Damodar, Madhaveti, Govinda, Damodar, Madhaveti, Govinda, Damodar, Madhaveti.
So, yeah, so we have so much to thank these devotees for. They're all working together. Yeah, I just want to ask that, like Yashodanandan Prabhu was saying, as we go along the path, we see more and more what we're not doing. But the one thing I see that keeps us going, even though very fallen for myself, is that sweet Harikatha. So many beautiful sweet Harikatha, and our hearts are longing actually for these perfect exchanges. And we're not going to really find them in this world. We can find them in this sweet Harikatha that we've been given. So many beautiful exchanges of love being explained. So this is our, or should I say, I want to offer my deepest gratitude actually to Srila Gurudev for the beautiful things he explained, for putting together all the things I had experienced and understood from Srila Prabhupada, but Srila Gurudev put them together and made a beautiful picture, which is for all of us as devotees who follow Srila Gurudev. We have a picture in our mind, you know, and we know where we want to go, and we know that without the association of devotees and hearing sweet prayer, we can't get there. So I just ask that, you know, I'm very unqualified. I'm a Sudra in my chart, so I'm very unqualified in many ways. I have no intelligence, and I'm sure I've made so many mistakes and so many offences without meaning to. I don't make them purposely, but I'm sure I've made millions. So I just ask for forgiveness for any offences I've made to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Rupa Guruvar, all the Vaishnavas, and I just ask them to give me mercy and to allow me to continue on this path till I get there. So, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
The UK Sangha is actually very uniquely fortunate to have so many senior Prabhupada disciples between us. If you go to Holland, Germany, many other European countries, we don't have that fortune anymore. So we're very lucky, especially how we can see Srila Gurudev's presence in all of them. I mean, we have Rudha's presence in the embrace of our God Brother, in the chastisement of the Gangamatas, but also in the affectionate words. Did I say that in the mic? Sorry. But also through our senior God uncles and God aunties, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, who Gurudev always taught us to have so much affection and love for. And we see the result of that now, is how they are, through their enthusiasm, because we know they've been through a lot. Since 1977 you've been going through a lot of difficult times, and we thinking since only 10 years ago, 2010, this is the end, how we're going to make it, it's over. But then we look up at you guys and like, you're still walking around, so somehow it must be possible. I don't know how, but you've done it, so you're doing a second wave of all that. Huh?
We ain't dead yet.
No, you ain't dead yet. So, you not being dead, still walking around, still saying Hare Krishna, gives us hope. A lot of hope, actually. And that's Gurudev's gift. He is present in your hearts. He's present through you, with us. And that's how we see Gurudev. And it's so amazing that everywhere you look, I see Gurudev. That's magical. So even though we're celebrating a Disappearance Day, everywhere you look, he's there. And now I'm going to ask Mother Tirtani Didi to please make her offering.
Yeah, yours.
Bhaktivedanta Segamya Sarada Shakshirana Dhanjina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Before saying anything, I want to offer Matt unlimited Dandavashpanam into the sweet of my Gurudevas. The day of Pavisam Shapashi Shmashila Vakti Kasum Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And the day of Pavisam Shapashi Shmashila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj. All the entire Rupanara Guru Varga, and all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. First I say I appeal forgiveness for my spiritual brother, so many senior devotees here near me, and then it shouldn't be speaking, but anyway, by the order of the Vaishnavas, I did for my own purification. Because this celebrating these days is the glory of our spiritual life. By glorifying Shri Guru, by remembering his pastimes, and by understanding that his appearance and disappearance is something very glorious, and that they come in this world only to give mercy, then we feel that even in my fallen condition, I have hope. I have a lot of hope, because these days come to rescue me from my habitat, that is being only attached to the field of this world, and then not taking that. But merciful, they come every year they come to celebrate. These celebrations come every year only to distribute their unlimited mercy. I was looking at the beautiful decoration, and then I seen Parang Gurudev's very wonderful picture there. And then I was remembering how Parang Gurudev served his Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and how Gurudev served his Gurudev. Someone said about how Parang Gurudev was, just was telling how his deep moods of separation from Srila Prabhupada at his disappearance, that he can even pronounce his name. I was remembering how Parang Gurudev, after the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, he established the parikramas everywhere. He reestablished. And by doing that, many God brothers who came back to their places and were like feeling hopeless. They got a lot of strength, and they started to come in the parikramas and coming in the Parang Gurudev's mat. And Gurudev, many times in his Harikatha, he said how by this mercy of his Gurudev, he had the mercy to serve all these Vaishnavas. And he said that how by the order of his Gurudev, he was serving them. How Parang Gurudev told to him, if you go to these Vaishnavas, if you serve them, then a lot of treasures in their heart they can give you. And then Gurudev was serving all these Vaishnavas and really capturing all this mercy in his heart. And another thing also was how Parang Gurudev gave his own life to serve his Gurudev. In the pastime, everybody knows the pastime in Paramatala in Navadvip Dham, when some people wanted to kill Parang Gurudev, and Gurudev gave his chains of his clothes. And then also Srila Gurudev serving his Gurudev was how much love his Gurudev had for his servants, how sweet. He thinks sometimes how Parang Gurudev was very, very strict and strong, but he was very sweet. When he saw his servants in any difficulty, his surrendered devotees in any difficulty, he used to cry and really do anything to keep them nicely. And then this is the situation of one, I think this is the Gangamatas who got this disease, very contagious disease. And then how Gurudev, without any care from for himself, he simply went there and he was taking care of this devotee until he left, but completely taking care without caring if he get or not. And then some wonderful that Gurudev was really getting the Manovista was his Gurudev. Also Gurudev, how Gurudev established, or the Gurudev was really the misconceptions of bhakti, how Gurudev was very, very, by his extraordinary knowledge of the scriptures, he was really changing the minds of many people, like in Mathura, when Gurudev was sent there to take care of the temple in Mathura, and many people, why this temple is in Mathura? All Vaishnavas make the temples in Vrindavan, and gradually Gurudev changed the mind of all the Mathura Vasis, and they understood that Krishna will really appear in Vrindavan, the Rajendranandan Shyamasundara, and they established these things. Gurudev got the title called Yuga Acharya. Why Gurudev got this title? Because all the Babajis, there's some, I don't remember which year, but they have this conception of Radha Krishna, but no Parakya. They were thinking Radha Krishna married, and then Gurudev and his extraordinary expertise in distributing transcendental knowledge, he changed completely the conception, and he established this sacred Parakya rasa and convince them and make them understand that what is the real the real line we are following, what is the real thing that Mahaprabhu came to give. And then in that way, all they accepted Gurudev and all his arguments, and they surrendered, and they gave this title to Gurudev. And then that way, it's so extraordinary how Gurudev also, as Parang Gurudev, he gave new life for many of his God brothers. And then Srila Gurudev did the same thing. Srila Gurudev, by the order of Srila Prabhupada, he came, and what happened with us? I say for myself, in my mind I'm thinking, if Gurudev didn't come, if I didn't have the good fortune that my Gurudev, my Srila Prabhupada, directed me to meet Gurudev in my life, I can't imagine my spiritual life only being in a comfortable place of yeah, I'm vegetarian, I offer everything in the altar, I chant Hare Krishna somehow, and go the Sunday festivals, it's enough. There's no need anything more. And then that place is the killing of the spiritual life. You be okay, I am okay. I did nothing else. And Gurudev brought this greed, isn't it? This greed of never satisfied. Now I feel never satisfied. I was feeling, getting nothing. What you are doing in your life? Getting nothing. That Gurudev brought this. It's as a gift from Gurudev that feel, really I need your mercy. And then Gurudev opened this in the heart, that necessity to pray and to pray continuously. To pray, I need your mercy. To appreciate what is Vaishnava association. What is Vaishnava? Yeah? To appreciate the devotees who are nearby. He used to say, if you respect your Gurudev, but you don't respect the service of your Gurudev, then your Gurudev won't be satisfied with you. Yeah? And then in that way, he was also establishing the importance to see our God brothers, our devotees who are doing anything in their own life to progress spiritually, to serve him somehow, and then the importance to have this appreciation. And in that way, we see the Guru's presence, Sri Guru's presence in any tiny jiva, in his little desire to progress spiritualmente, and his unlimited mercy that capturing all the entire world. And then I only have to say to Srila Gurudev in this special day. Another thing, very beautiful. Yesterday, I think it was in the morning time, the Harikatha was about one glorification of Gurudev. And the Gurudev is in the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj, we are celebrating today, his appearance day also. And then how beautiful Gurudev glorifies him. And then I hear, as Sita was explaining, that how Srila Vamana Maharaj used to, when he sees Gurudev coming, he used to go full Dandavas pranams to him. Yeah, like that kind of respect, that kind of appreciation and love in between God brothers. That this is something very wonderful teaching for us. Very wonderful teaching for us. And Gurudev was really glorifying Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj and showing to everybody how he's a Mahapurush, how he's a real great personality. And then he was feeling, he was telling, I feel really, really, really blessed to have his association to be. He did everything for me when I came to the mat. Was the first person I met when I came out of the train. He came to me, you are Tiwariji, and he brought me to the mat. He gave me everything, and then in that way. I pray to Gurudev that please give me your mercy in that way that I can appreciate all the Vaishnavas, and I develop respect for all of them inside my heart and my this demoniac tendency to find faults in other or criticize even internally can be free from that, and that way some progression will be in the spiritual life, can be worth the name to be called a disciple of my Gurudeva. Otherwise, we will continue in that stage, and then how to represent, how to serve my Gurudeva. Yeah, I pray to the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev and Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaja in this day. They are giving a lot of mercy, and then I will be. I hope to receive a little of that.
Now, before we go to our third set of speakers, we'll have one more kirtan in between. There's a fourth person that we're going to have just Krishna Kripa Prabhu also do an offering. We have so many devotees here. The next set we're going to have Gaurachan Prabhu, Sarojini Didi, Nanda Sutta Prabhu, and Charu Chandrika Didi. And Jiva. Yes. So we still have quite a few. You're a special one. So we have quite a few more devotees to speak, and we don't want you to fall asleep. So we will. And yes, I'm saving her for the cherry on the top. Yeah. So what was I gonna say? Oh no. Yes, there's a kirtan right after Krishna Kripa. Just wanted to say that we have so many people that have been affected by Gurudev in so many ways. It's impossible to ask every single person to speak. Ramakant Prabhu did yesterday. Next year we're going to have a 7-day festival so that everyone can actually say something, because it's. Oh, I'll have to check with them. But yeah, Sham Prabhu. There's so many, and because Gurudev has the speciality that he could affect anyone and everyone, a devotee, non-devotee, young, old, atheist, Muslim, Christian, parents of devotees, haters, lovers, spies, everyone. Seriously. Yes, everyone. I remember my uncle, he didn't like Hare Krishna devotees, anything to do with it. And Gurudev had a festival in Apeldoorn, near Apeldoorn, not too far from where he lives. And we were staying at his, going to the festival up and down. He's like, let me go with these guys and see what they're doing. So he came and went back and asked, what did you think about it? And he said, you guys were all a bunch of nutcases. All you do is run behind this old man. Wherever he goes, you go. Whatever he does, you do. What's up with that? You guys are crazy. But he kept coming, and he ended up doing the same thing. He's like, I get it now. He has something, okay? He has something. I don't know what it is. He couldn't put his finger on it. He said he has something amazing. And he kept following him, and at the end he wanted to ask initiation, which he did. And then Gurudev asked him about the 4 regulative principles. That conversation didn't go very well. So I won't give you too many details on that. But Gurudev told him, okay, you work on those, I'll come back next year. And such a change. He spent the whole year trying to give up smoking, eating meat, all those things. And he managed. And he came to Gurudev and took initiation. Just from that, I'm thinking we're all nutcases. He said, I know what it is, and he started following him around everywhere too. So Gurudev touched everyone's hearts, and he's still touching everyone's hearts. So it's very difficult to ask everyone to speak, but I'm sure everyone in some way or another can offer their glorification pushpanjali to Gurudev, because he has this unique way of accepting everyone, taking everyone's offering. Even though there's thousands of people in a festival, he manages to touch everyone, and every single person that's met him. You can ask anyone here, they will all say that they have a special relationship with him, that he loves me so much, I have something special. Every single person that met him has that experience.
Is he still alive?
Hell yeah. I mean, yes.
Yes.
Who's going to be a kirtan person?
No, after you.
After?
I'm doing 444. I'm doing well with 444.
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyapane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Namini Vandeham Shri Guru Varam Shri Panuga Pravaram Rajarasa Rasikam Shananayanantam Sapanam Shri Guru Charanam Vande Ramam Pristaya Bhutale Rupanuga Bhaktidam Shakri Pamuti Narayanam Anjakalpatu Vishakri Vasim Nubye Vachapati Tanam Bhavani Vaishnavyo Namo Namah. First of all, I want to offer my unlimited Dandavat Pranams at the lotus feet of my beloved Srila Gurudev, Srila Prishtam Vishupadas Tatasada Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Swami Maharaj, and to all the rest of the Guru Varga and the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis assembled here. So, a couple of times over the last couple of Gurudev Disappearance days I've been asked to speak, and I often don't feel like doing it, but then I remember that actually Gurudev is pleased and we receive extra mercy when we do, so that's why I'm speaking right now. Especially because I feel I need it at this time. Yeah, I never really have anything prepared, but I end up saying something anyway. So, yeah, I just feel like Gurudev, no matter what we go through in our lives, no matter what obstacles may be on our way, he's always there and he's always present, even if we don't realize it and we sometimes lose sight of it. He's always giving his mercy, he's always watching us. And yeah, sometimes, as I said, I lose sight of that and I don't really, make that conscious connection to Gurudev, but I do, in some way, always feel he's there. And even if I'm going through whatever difficulties I am, and if I feel like I'm a bottom of the ladder devotee, which is most of the time, yeah, I just feel like Gurudev is always, he has this merciful glance and he's always present. And yeah, as I said, I don't really prepare anything, so I don't exactly know what I'm saying now, but I guess one thing I could say is I can retell a story I told last time, which I thought was, it made it very clear that Gurudev was there. But it was a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago or something. I was going through a pretty difficult time, and to be honest, I kind of went through a period of depression for a few months, and I was looking for a job, and I ended up feeling very kind of frustrated because, I was kind of like, nothing was going right at the time, and I felt quite kind of low in myself, and I felt like I really needed some help. So I ended up actually seeing a picture that was on the wall, and it was a quote by Gurudev that said, "I am closer to you than the air you breathe." So I remember at that point when I saw it, I thought to myself, okay, if this is really true, if what you say is really true, then please help me in this situation and give me a sign that this is actually how it is. And I remember at that time I'd been like making different applications for jobs and nothing had come through, nothing had worked. And shortly after I made that prayer, it was maybe 10-15 minutes later, I got a call from one of my, one of the applications I made. And basically they ended up bringing me in for an interview, and I got the job, and I'm still there more than 4 years later. So I feel like that was definitely Gurudev's hand, he helped to orchestrate that whole thing. And I think if I was gonna, make a prayer for myself that I hope he would be able to help bring to fruition, it would be that I could manage to strike a balance between spiritual and material life, because growing up as a devotee, sometimes it's very difficult to find that balance, and I feel like it's an internal battle which I go through almost on a daily basis, and I'm quite torn inside as a result. So I think my prayer on this day is that Gurudev can see maybe what I'm going through, and he can help me to make some peace with this inner, what feels like a constant battle. I hope that Gurudev can help me to somehow gain some insight or some knowledge, or just give me some awareness so I can move forward and I guess feel a bit more at ease within myself, and I've found this peace between the spiritual and the material, and not be too hard on myself. So anyway, that's sort of where I'm at the moment and what I'm going through, and I guess I'm making this prayer on this day that Gurudev can see sort of what I'm going through, and he can help me and give me his merciful hand. And this is about Gurudev today anyway, and I'm talking a lot about my struggles, but I guess, you know, this is the way I feel like he's there, and he can, you know, no matter what we're going through, he's always present, and if we actually earnestly call out to him, he can help us. And I guess maybe, you know, perhaps for everyone else, they can try and realize that on some deeper level, even if they don't really realize he's present, he is present, he's there, he's watching, and he can always help us. And you know, I hope I can kind of strengthen my connection with him again, because I feel like recently I've kind of lost that a bit. And yeah, if he could please hear my prayer and help me to make some connection with him again and feel his presence. I think that's the main thing. I want to feel his presence and get his mercy, and I ask for the mercy of all of you as well to be kind to me and to, you know, shower your mercy on me and, you know, help this fallen soul. Anyway, thank you very much, Haribol. Jai.
One time I asked Gurudev for blessings, and he said, "My blessings are always with you." And whenever he does give blessings, you always hear him say, "May you be happy in this world and the next." And I'm sure that with everyone's approval and encouragement, that blessing from Gurudev is definitely upon you as well. So, Jiva Prabhu, you are next.
He said, always be hopeful.
Always be hopeful.
Don't be hopeless.
I remember he said, sorry, just for quickly, I remember Gurudev said, "How can you be hopeless with a guru like me?"
Well, I never ever would prepare anything because I wouldn't have thought this would be thrust upon me. There's only one thing I can possibly say, and that's with listening to all of my esteemed friends and Vaishnavas surrounding me, is that the essence that I'm taking, that I'm trying deeply to bow to, is the shelter that it brings me in feeling with Gurudev. So any feeling that I can have from anything that I've heard, if that brings me closer to surrendering to the shelter that he's offering, just like my good friend Krishna Kripa's talking about. And through any way that we possibly can, through remembering, thinking, hearing stories, passing stories, sharing stories, the shelter that brings, that's all I can have. Jai Shri Gurudev.
Now, one of Srila Gurudev's favorite melodies, which would remind him of the gopis after the Rasa Leela, is, I don't know why they call it that, but they call it the Australian melody.
Because there was a lady in Australia. I was there when we went to I don't remember her name, but we were visiting Sheila Dasi. We were visiting for the first time Braj Balava's Prabhu's house, and Gurudev had given his darshan, and she was invited to sing, and she sung it there for the first time in Australia. And that's why it's called the Australian tune, and it really did affect him. He loves that.
Jai.
So we get Sudevi, I'm sure you want Sudevi to normally sing it, but we have another Sudevi here.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
many more you got, Manju? That one to come in. So actually there are two cherries to go on top of the cake, sorry, because Madhubrat Prabhu also promised Gurudev a coffee table book size with pictures, so he's going to give us a preview of that book that's about to come out, isn't it? Sarojini Didi, are you ready?
I was ready as I'll ever be. Thank you. I'd just like to thank everybody here for their kindness and wisdom, and we truly are family, and just thank you. It's incredibly purifying to be in such association, and so please forgive any mistakes I might be making as I speak while I'm being purified. I was warned about this, but now I've heard everybody glorifying Srila Gurudev and speaking so nicely, all that's gone out the window. Yesterday, I was having quite a deep conversation with my daughter, little Radha, over something she'd been watching some drama series on Netflix, and the idea of time came up. And one of the characters in this drama was saying that time isn't linear. Time. I won't say what it is, in case anyone goes and watches it.
It's the good place.
No. Maybe it's been said many times anyway. Time is not linear, this woman was saying in the drama. Time is not linear. And Radha wanted to talk about this. And I just trotted out a few. Yeah, well, it's a construct, linear time. Humans have this linear time concept to make sense of everything. But really, time's not linear, eternal time and all the rest of it. But, I didn't really understand it. Sitting here right now, I'm kind of getting a bit more of a feel for the timelessness of time, if you see what I mean. Because, okay, we've aged, time has gone by in its linear way, but in another way, everything that we've all been talking about today is still happening. And especially at this time of year, coming up to, in the Western calendar, New Year's Day, everybody around us is taking stock of everything that's been going on in the past year, who's left, who's still here, what's happened, what will the future be. And I remember Srila Gurudev often used to say in his classes about how important it is to stop and take stock of everything on Ekadashis, on Disappearance and Appearance days. And so, in a way, this day is like a huge taking stock. And for me personally, anyway, and sometimes that's painful, but that's my thing. But also, I'm beginning to form an idea now that these days are like the interface between our linear time, because we mark occasions in linear time, and eternal time. And that's how the mercy is here. It's always here. Srila Gurudev's always here. And to anybody in this room who never personally met Srila Gurudev, don't worry, he's here. Our mercy's here, don't worry. All around, all you have to do is keep coming and try and get some, because it's here, No one's missed anything. No one's missed anything. I've got a story, a Gurudev story. have I said it before? Does anybody know the shoes story about me and the shoes? No? Okay, I'll say it. On Raj Mandal Parikram one year, we were staying in Varshana, and it was a really bumpy, horrible, uncomfortable coach ride, wasn't it? And especially when you've got like a little one and it's hot and tiring, and I didn't make evening class that night. I had such a bad headache, so I set up my tent on the roof of the guest house, and downstairs was the pandal where Gurudev was speaking and everyone was gathered, and I was just lying in my tent and I could hear everything, and in one way I felt really lucky that I could hear everything, and in another way I felt really unfortunate that I wasn't actually there. So feeling a bit kind of miserable, I said a prayer in my head to Gurudev, like, if you can hear me, like, please, please, how can I serve you? I'm just here. I'm here, but I'm not here. I want to be more present. I want to do something. And then the next morning, Srila Gurudev taught me a lesson. I'm not saying I learned it, but he taught me. And I was aware of that. The next morning was Srila Prabhupada's disappearance. And a very solemn occasion. I arrived early in the pandal, sitting there, waiting for Gurudev to come. And then when Gurudev did come in with Srila Maharaja and everyone, like, everybody rushed, as they always did. I stayed back because I didn't really feel like rushing in physically. But Gurudev somehow made a beeline straight for me. Maybe it was because of where I was standing, I don't know. Maybe it was because, it was because he heard my prayer. And he put his shoes down next to me because I was near the entrance, and he said, "She can guard my shoes." And I was just like, oh my word, I've got a job. And everybody was coming and laying flowers on Gurudev's shoes right next to me, and I was like, oh wow, this is amazing. Wow, I got a job. And Gurudev sat down and class began, and Radha was very young at the time, maybe about 4 years old, and she needed to go out to the toilet right towards the end of class. So I took her out. And during that time, Gurudev left. And I had been so looking forward to being there. Hey Gurudev, I guarded your shoes. Oh, I'm your shoe guardian, and you guarded the shoes gone. And I was really, really upset. I had cried actually. I felt like he'd given me a job and I hadn't been able to do it. But then I realised, sometime later, it was months later actually, I realised that Gurudev was actually, the lesson was, you don't have to actually do a job physically. And then later on I learned about Vani Seva and Bhakti Seva. I began to, and I'm still not there yet, but I began to realise that actually Gurudev's in our hearts, Gurudev's there, and we serve Gurudev by trying to follow as best we can the instructions that Gurudev gave to us. And for all of us who had some personal contact with Gurudev, we know what he said to us in those darshans, we know what he said to everybody in classes, and it's just a question of connecting with that, because Gurudev never leaves us, he's always there. We might think we've gone astray, or we might think we've gone away a bit, but we can't lose him, we can't shake him off, he's in there, and that's it, like forever, for all our lives, all our lifetimes that we have left. So, yeah, that's all I have to say, really.
like to pay my obeisances to Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, all of the acharyas, and all my family that are here today. It feels pretty beautiful actually being here, because Gurudev has touched everyone's heart here, and you can see it and you can feel it within everyone. So the legacy is there within everyone here. It's very lovely. Feels like a very safe place to be. It's also very bittersweet occasion. It's very sweet. All the memories and everyone sharing and that intimacy actually that they've had with Srila Gurudev and being intimate, sharing that with each other. But it's also, you know, that time of feeling separation as well. So there's a lot of emotion going on there, really. So it's a lot going on. For myself, over the last 8 years, it's been quite a journey trying to make sense. Could we turn that down a little? You pull it up a bit. That'd be too loud now. Okay. It's been quite a tough journey for myself over the last 8 years. I feel very lucky. We've had the Gangamatas here. Srila Gurudev sent his near and dear, and so many kept going and kept the spirit alive, which is very good, you know, and hopeful. Because if you see others carrying on somehow, then it's hopeful for all of us. But for my own journey, I've really had to work hard to try to make sense of what it's all about, and what did I glean, what did I actually learn from being in such exalted company of as Srila Gurudev. And I think it comes down to one single point. Something hit me a year or two ago. It's like, this world we're living in, it's actually impossible to be happy in this world. And if only a fool, and I'm one, can ever feel that we can ever be happy in this world without the mercy of the Guru. So, you know, there's a simple thing really. Ekakiyama, nahi payabal, harinam sankirtan. You know, to me that's the essence. That's hopefully I can always remember that and take that as being the essence of what Srila Gurudev has given us. Alone, I don't have the power to do anything. I can't change. I can't do anything. So, looking to Srila Gurudev, begging actually to say, without your mercy, there's nothing here. Ekakiyama, nahi payabal. There's no strength, no energy, nothing, without the mercy of Srila Gurudev. So, conventional society can't keep us happy. Having money, having a business, having a beautiful wife, having beautiful children, having a beautiful home, okay, can keep us, you know, happy temporarily busy, very busy. But without this, without that connection with Srila Gurudev, nothing makes any sense of it, because it's all chaos. The world, the material world is just chaotic. It's a mixture of energies, and without the mercy of the Guru and feeling that connection and the hope and a little optimism that we are going in a direction, then we're living hope. And that's all I can say. Thank you.
Savita Didi likes to tell this story all the time about this lady from Mumbai. She was quite old. She came to Mathura for the Janmashtami festival, and well, she died. So a few days after this happened, her son.
That's nice, yeah.
A few days after that, yeah, on Ekadashi, but we'll get to that point. Trying to do this one quick, just to squeeze it in. So, her son comes to the Mathura month, and all crying stands in front of Gurudev's room, and he was still on the first floor. And Savita Didi happened to be in there getting her usual morning class, and this boy is standing there in the door crying. And Gurudev, as you know, he cannot ignore anyone's request ever. So he asked him, what's wrong? And he said, oh, my mother has just passed away, and my mother is one of your disciples. And then Gurudev stopped the class and asked, okay, what happened? And asked him to come in. And the boy started explaining, oh, we live in Mumbai and our mother, she has a family here in Mathura. She's one of your disciples, and she was insisting that she wanted to come to Mathura to be there for Janmashtami, Nandotsav, and these festivals, but nobody wanted to take her. Somehow or another she managed to get here, but then she witnessed that she did the whole Janmashtami festival from morning till even, Mangalarti till midnight. She did the Nandotsav festival, Prabhupada's appearance day. She did all the festivals, she did Nandotsav, and then she fell sick. She was staying at her brother's house, and when she fell sick, she had some pain in her heart, and she asked to lie down. And she called for her brother, and told the brother that he brought some medication, wanted to take her to the hospital, and he said, no, change my clothes and put tilak on 12 parts of my body. So they put her in the sari, put tilak on her, and she sat up in the bed, and she said, Gurudev is coming. Gurudev is coming, Radha Krishna is calling me. And calling Gurudev's name, she left her body, there and then. And while this boy her son was telling this story to Gurudev, so he said that Gurudev's face changed, his face became the same color as his clothes, and he went in some kind of absorption. And Gurudev then said that any of my disciples, wherever they will go in this material world, I myself will personally come and take them back to Radha Krishna. And then Gurudev's hands became very cold, and she called for, at that time, Naveen Krishna Prabhu. He came and they gave Gurudev some, what you do there is electrolyte water. And Gurudev was brought back to external consciousness, and Gurudev asked, what happened? What did I say? What happened? And they said, no, everything is fine, Gurudev, don't worry. He didn't tell him. But Gurudev has taken this vow, he will come for us wherever we are. He actually said, in whoever's hearts I have planted the seed of bhakti, I will go there and get them. And he made that promise. So, Haribo. And I see Gaurachan Prabhu came inside. Would you like to share something?
Might say something. So what do you need to be you and reminded me of that?
Mom, we should be around Krishna Prasthana, Bhagavation, and Bhaktivedanta, Swami, Namaste, Swami, I'm trying to say something about Gurudev, but I haven't written anything down there. I never do actually, it's like a panic when you're in this situation. I was looking in Chaitanya Charitamrita just yesterday, and it was explained about 3 types of gurus. There's a guru who gives the initial information to come to Krishna consciousness, and that can be anybody who just gives you a book on the street, or somebody who just invites you to come to the temple. So like, we may have been that guru for so many people if we distributed books, or if we've ever preached or gone on Harinam Sankirtan or any time, we may have given somebody else that initial information. But then there's the other guru who gives the instructions for sadhana bhakti, and then there's another guru who gives when the Diksha guru leaves, one should take shelter of a Shiksha guru. So then there's the Shiksha guru who gives further instructions. So my relationship with Srila Narayana Maharaj is that he's my Shiksha guru, because my Diksha guru is Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, when he went preaching around the Western world, he came to a situation where everything was completely materialistic. So he had to first establish some very, very basic principles. And the basic foundation of Krishna consciousness is Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada, although initially he gave us books like Nectar of Devotion, which is a translation of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, then after a couple of years later, he started giving us Chaitanya Charitamrita, 1 volume at a time. But in the beginning, through his lectures, by force of circumstance, because we were so thick, because we were so coming from such a materialistic background, he really had to hammer home the kind of basics I used to say over and over again, "You are not the enjoyer." Well, he didn't say you're not. He used to say, "You are not enjoyer," because his English was a little bit Indian English, you know. "You are not enjoyer," over and over again. And I still haven't understood that, because I'm still thinking I'm the enjoyer. But Prabhupada had to establish Bhagavad Gita. So when I first became a devotee, I used to learn lots of Bhagavad Gita shlokas, you know. So Bhagavad Gita begins like Dhammashetra Kurukshetra Samivitayi Yutsava Mani Kampanda Vasheva Kimakurvita Sanjaya, and it goes all the way through to Sarvadam Mam Parichaja. So this is establishing like a basis for a structure of spiritual knowledge. So I thought I knew something, you know, because I've been a devotee for several years. And when I met Gurudev for the first time, one of the first things he said to me was, "Don't spend the rest of your life learning ABC." So that came as a bit of a shock to me. Another thing he said to me was, "I want you to come to India with me, and I want you to come to Vrindavan with me." So that next Kartik, I did go to India, and I found out later that a great devotee called Narad Muni had once been talking to Krishna, and Krishna said to Narad, "Ask me for a benediction, anything you want." But Narad Muni is a Mahabhagavat, so he doesn't really want anything. So actually this puts Krishna in a great difficulty when he asks a devotee for a benediction, and the devotee says he doesn't want anything. Although Krishna's God, it puts him in a kind of awkward situation. That he, what can he do? So then Krishna insisted. He said, "Narad, you must ask me for a benediction." So then Narad thought, and he said, "Okay, well, I don't want anything for myself, but give me the benediction that anybody who goes to the Dham and hears your pastimes in the same place where the pastime actually happened, where it physically happened in the Dham. If anybody goes to that place and hears that pastime, then they will get love of God sooner or later." So then I realized, why Gurudev wanted me to go on parikrama. Why he so much he was giving me a benediction. One time on parikrama, when I got really sick, and I spent several days in a room in a dharmshala down the road from the Govardhan temple, and I missed out on a few days. I had a really incredible headache. I was just probably rolling on the floor in pain sometimes. Then after a while it lifted, and I managed to get on my feet again, and I went to the temple, and everybody had gone because they'd all gone on parikrama. And I started walking into the temple, and Gurudev was standing there on the steps. And I thought, oh no, and he's looking at me very, very sternly. And as I come towards him, he says, "Not going on parikrama?" And I started to say, "Oh Gurudev, I've been so sick, I just got on my feet again." But he didn't wait to hear my explanation. And he immediately turned his back on me, and he gave me a really hard, heavy vibe, a really, really heavy vibe. And as he was walking away, I just said, "God, have I been sick?" And he wasn't listening, And so actually, it's described that the nature of a pure devotee is that they can be as hard as a thunderbolt and as soft as a flower. And what decides what side that's going to fall is what is appropriate for bhakti. Just like Krishna said to Arjuna, you're worshipping, you're lamenting for what's not worthy of grief. By all material standards, Arjuna was very soft-hearted, and he didn't want to see all these people die on this battlefield. But Krishna had a higher purpose. So, for the purpose of establishing Krishna consciousness, Krishna chastised Arjuna and said, you're like, talking like a fool. You're just lamenting for something material. So the spiritual master, his interest is very, very like a knife. Like he wants our spiritual benefit, you know. So actually, but the spiritual master can also be very soft, like a rose. And one time in in Gopinath Bhavan, Gurudev was giving a class, and he was explaining all the disqualifications that make us unqualified for Krishna consciousness, all the kind of anarthas that are typical in our hearts. And as he was going through, as he was talking like this, I thought, oh no, that's me. And then he described another anartha, oh no, that's me as well. And he was going through all these kind of different material attachments and different sorts of ignorance. And by the time he got to the end of it, I felt like a wet rag. You know, I felt like, oh my God, what am I doing here? You know, and I was like I felt really shattered. And then he finished this class, and he stood up. And from where he was sitting, he would normally walk through the devotees to this room he had at the back. Yeah, and I was kind of sitting over to one side. And it was very, very strange, because as soon as he stood up, it's like all these devotees opened up in a pathway leading to me over on the side. It was like the Red Sea parted for Moses or something, you know. It was like, he's supposed to go that way. What's it coming? He's coming towards me. And so it was really strange. I don't know. Anybody was conscious of why they were doing it. I think must be orchestrating it somehow. But he came straight to me, and he looked at me very, very compassionately. He didn't say anything. He just put his hand on my shoulder, and he kept his hand there on my shoulder just for a moment, and then he walked on to his room, and it was just like he knew what I was thinking. He knew what I was feeling, and he knew how deflated I was feeling at that moment. So that's one of like soft as a rose, you know, as opposed to the chastisement. Why you're not on paragraph, rascal? So yeah. So there was another thing I was thinking about I was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, and in a purport, Prabhupada was saying that the concept of God, the Creator, is like a barrier, you know. Like if you consider God to be the Creator, then you won't be able to understand the rasas of the spiritual world. You know, like most religions in the material world, they're called Kaitava Dharma in the Bhagavatam because they don't deal with the actual truth. You know, the cheating religion, really. But most religions regard God as the Creator. But Prabhupada is saying in this purport that this is actually a barrier to understanding the real nature of God. And because this is a conversation between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Rai. and in the purpose and everything, Prabhupada is explaining that there are 5 rasas or relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world. There's Shantaras, Dasya Ras, what was it? Vatsalya Ras, Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, and Madhurya Ras. There's a verse in Bhagavad Gita, Yaya tamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham mamavat manuvatante manusha partha sarvashaha. And in this verse, Krishna is making a promise that he will reciprocate with every devotee according to their relationship with him, according to their mood that they have towards him. He will reciprocate appropriately and proportionately. But then I'm reading this conversation, this discussion between Ramananda Rai and Lord Chaitanya, and then I could see that this verse applies to the first rasas. It doesn't apply to Madhurya ras, because in Madhurya ras, the devotion of the devotees, especially the gopis, is so intense, is so overwhelming, that Krishna feels unable to fulfill his promise to reciprocate. You know, he feels that he can't actually reward the gopis. It's just too much. This kind of knowledge is beyond material conception. That God is actually known as Bhagavan, so he's got unlimited opulences. So how is it possible that someone who has unlimited wealth, unlimited everything, can feel themselves to be inadequate, or can feel themselves to become a debtor? So he feels that he's a debtor to the gopis in spite of all his opulence. So we can only understand these kind of tattvas through the mercy of a Rasik Vaishnava. It's only through the mercy of somebody like Srila Prabhupada or Srila Gurudev that we can come to understand the highest levels of spiritual understanding. That's it. I think I've said enough. All glories to Srila Gurudev.
Mother Vrindavani.
Sorry, I didn't know that you would notice me. It's going to be charity, and I've listened to everybody from the mood of hearing. Yeah, I can definitely go along with that. Soft as a rose and hard as a thunderbolt. Because Gurudev, I saw those two aspects of Gurudev, and he was always showing me. Maybe I had a lack of something I didn't notice in myself. That I didn't have full faith in him. He was always constantly showing himself to know everything. But sometimes I feel in a dilemma because, as one devotee said, don't let everything out as camphor, yet share things. So it's such a fine line. And quite honestly, my instructions from Gurudev were quite different to other people. He actually told me, don't speak very much. He said, keep things inside, otherwise so much is lost. So it's a dilemma, what you share. I don't know how someone speaks so much and doesn't lose. I haven't figured it out. Anyway, so many constant things he was showing me that he knew everything. So, I don't know, maybe one story I'll say. It was at the end of a festival in Germany. it was very early in the morning, and I knew he was leaving to go somewhere else. So I got up, got myself ready, and I went outside his apartment. It was very cold, and I knew he was going to come out at some point. So I was chanting up and down. And then gradually some other devotees started to assemble there. I just waited. Then he came down. And as he came to the car, then he didn't go straight for the car. He came over to me. And I thought, oh, maybe he's pleased with me, and he saw me cold here, waiting so long. Maybe he was just pleased with me. But then he stood there for ages, doing just looking at me, and again looking, so many things like that. And I thought, oh, he wants to give me some mercy. And then he got in the car and left. All he said, his only words, he used to speak with his own. He didn't have to speak with his mouth. But his only words were thank you. And then he left. And then afterwards, I wasn't so conversant with the thing where they give blessings on people's birthdays, like Gurudev used to give blessings to people on their birthday. And then afterwards, because I was so absorbed in Gurudev, I actually forgot it was actually my birthday. But I totally forgot. I couldn't have kept, you don't really forget it's your birthday. But I'd totally forgotten. I just wanted to be there as he left. And then I realised that he'd been giving me this sort of birthday thing that he does to people. I hadn't asked because I totally forgot about it. Yet he, although I'd forgotten my body and everything else, he knew. He knew. He was totally, every single time there was something where he'd show me he knew everything about me. Yeah, just all the time, things like that. Jai
It's a very, very auspicious day. Gurudev's Tirubhav-Tithi, the day that he left this world of material vision and entered Nityalila. So we've all come together on this day to remember and glorify him. So I was reading something that Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj, he was saying that why do we come together to glorify Guru and Vaishnavas, especially on their appearance or disappearance day? He was saying actually that it's even more auspicious to do so, to glorify Guru and Vaishnavas this day, than even to glorify Bhagavan. So, as we know, Krishna appears in this world, and everyone celebrating Janmashtami with so much paraphernalia and much decoration, so many preparations are there. But actually this day, for us, is even more auspicious to remember Gurudev on his divine disappearance day. So why is it more auspicious? So he was explaining that Bhagavan, he's so high, he's so far from us. In our fallen condition, we cannot easily approach Bhagavan. We cannot easily have his association. We cannot serve him. But the Guru comes to this world and he engages us in the service of Radha and Krishna. In this way, he knows all Krishna's, Radha and Krishna's likes and dislikes, more than even Krishna himself. So he can take our offerings, he can offer them directly. We cannot do. So in this way, it's most auspicious. That opportunity is given. Such a rare opportunity. Also, he was saying that how can we serve Guru and Vaishnavas after their disappearance? Because when they're physically present, we can engage with them, have association, so take our offerings like this. But after they've disappeared, then how can we truly serve them? He said we can really serve them by remembering their glories, by remembering their very highly exemplary conduct, by remembering their teachings and sharing them with others to help them establish a relationship with that Vaishnava, that Guru. So I was quoting this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Avishmriti Krishna Padara Vindeo Shinota Bhadrani Chasamtanoti. So this verse is actually explaining the results of glorifying Krishna. But he was saying that even more so, this meaning, inner meaning or deeper meaning, is that to glorify those who are situated at the lotus feet of Krishna, that brings all auspiciousness and completely destroys all inauspiciousness. So what is that auspiciousness? It's not worldly auspiciousness that it brings. What is it? It says the desire for Krishna prema. That desire. Actually, we say that before we came in contact with Vaishnava, pure Vaishnavas, did any of us desire Krishna prema? I don't think so. And before we came in contact with Gurudev, did any of us desire Radha Dashyam? Probably not. Maybe Ramananda Guru when you wanna. But anyway, so the Gurudev especially, he was planting this seed very deeply into our hearts. And what does Abhadrani mean? Abhadrani means the pure Guru Vaishnava, they completely destroy all inauspiciousness, what's inauspicious in this world. Actually, if we look into our heart, especially if I look into my heart, there's so many material desires we're carrying them for many, many, many millions upon billions of lifetimes. We're carrying them. But that Guru, he can completely destroy at the very root every single last shred of material desire. It's inconceivable. So this is the results of glorifying Shri Guru Vaishnavas on their disappearance day. So, a few days ago, I was thinking that Gurudev would often speak about Rupa Shiksha, how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he brought Srila Rupa Goswami onto the shore of the ocean of Bhakti Ras, and he made him taste one drop of that ocean. And just by tasting that one drop, that expanded in his heart unlimitedly. And he gave so much in the form of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Upadeshamrita, Ujjvalani Umani, so many books. So Gurudev also dived deeply there. And he wants to bring us onto this ocean of Bhakti Ras. And he's showing us, look in this ocean. Look how much nectar there is in this ocean. I cannot imagine. It's inconceivable. So much sweetness is there. And we've heard about this from Gurudev's lotus lips. We've even seen Gurudev, how he's tasting, how he's relishing. And we may stand on that shore and think, how is it possible to dive in? I want to dive in. I want to experience that Gurudev's experiencing. I want to taste, I want to relish, I want to digest. But how possible? If one is unqualified, then actually it's impossible. Impossible. But Gurudev, he's an ambassador. He's coming from Goloka Vrindavan. And he's coming with greatest wealth, greatest gift. And he's telling, don't worry. Okay, you have no qualification, but I am giving you passport. I am giving you visa. And I am giving you ticket to that realm. But still, what do we have to do, really, to get there? First and foremost, Guru Padashraya, we have to surrender completely at the lotus feet of Gurudev. But easier said than done, not so easy. So, actually, Gurudev, he once said that this bhakti, Uttama bhakti, pure bhakti, it's not so cheap. Not so cheap. Why? What price will you have to pay for this Uttama bhakti? You will have to give up everything you consider to be your own. Everything you consider belongs to you. You'll have to give it up. And completely surrender. That surrender has to be so deep at the lotus feet of Gurudev that we become one in heart with Gurudev, Tadatmik. We become one in desire, aspiration, that our own aspirations no longer become our own. That our aspirations, they become one with Gurudev. They're Gurudev's aspirations. So Gurudev said, unless and until we come to this state, then we cannot enter this realm of bhakti ras. We cannot possibly attain the goal. There's no way to advance unless we come to this complete surrender. So, one time, I was remembering, so I had good fortune to travel with Gurudev around the world. Somehow he dragged me. And we went to New Braj Festival in '96 every year. And there he would speak the most deep Hari guitar. Very, very sweet. So much nectar he was giving. And one year, he was speaking on this verse, Mahat Sangama Mahatmyam, Mahat Sangama Mahatmyam Eva Tat Paramadhutam. So he was explaining the glories of Mahat Sangha, how miraculous the benefits are, how when Janasham, he was mature Brahman, he wasn't doing any really real sadhana, any deep sadhana or anything, but somehow or another, Srimati Radhika sent Gopakumar to this world to search him out. And he was speaking Harikatha to Janasham. Janasham was listening, but he was saying, what can I do? I'm hearing you speak, but I'm not getting any realization. What can I do? So at that time, Gopakumar came as Shrup in this world. He placed his hand on the head of Janasham. Immediately, he attained his Shrup as a Saka, as a friend of Krishna, and went directly to Goloka Vrindavan, into the embrace of Krishna. This is completely miraculous. This is the glories of Mahat Sangha. So we were listening to Gurudev, and I'm sure everyone in that room was thinking, and now we have Mahabhagavat Vaishnava before us, that maybe we haven't realized so deeply how glorious that is, how miraculous that is. Benefits are inconceivable. So after this class, then I thought, you know what? That's all I need to do is approach Gurudev and ask him to put his hand on my head, to bless me, to give those very same blessings like Gopakumar gave to Janasham. So Gurudev was going to his room, and I said, Gurudev, please, can you put your hand on my head? Gurudev looked at me like, you think it's that simple? He said, no, that's not possible. I said, Gurudev, please, just once. Then Gurudev said, no. He said, for this, you will have to surrender. Oh. So then I thought, okay, easier said than done. It's not so easy to fully surrender. So, but Gurudev, he can make the impossible possible. So, always, Gurudev is pulling our heartstrings in so many ways, by his glance, by his smile, by his sweet Harikatha. Like so many devotees here are explaining how he's pulling the heart. What's he doing? He's pulling our hearts away from Maya and pulling directly towards the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. So that, traveling with him, we've forgotten the material world. We've forgotten everything that is so-called attractive about the material world, and we found ourselves just completely attracted to Gurudev and the nectar he was giving. So, going back to Srila Bhaktivedanta was saying this verse, what are the results of remembering Guru and Vaishnavas on their appearance and disappearance days? So what happens in our hearts? Actually, our whole consciousness becomes completely purified. And we get a strong desire to serve Radha and Krishna. Also, saying we get gyan, but not ordinary gyan. What kind of gyan? Sambandha gyan. That means knowledge of our relationship with Radha and Krishna. Knowledge of our Srila and what is our specific relationship. So Gurudev is giving that. He's giving that through his Harikatha. He's giving that through Diksha mantras. He's giving that through his glance. In so many ways. So, he's not just gyan, but vigyan, realization, he's giving. But we have to want, we have to desire, we have to have this greed. So also, this verse explains we get vairagya. What kind of vairagya? Not just ordinary material detachment. Even great yogis in the Himalayas, they get this vairagya. But what kind of vairagya is Gurudev giving? He's giving Vishesh Rupena, this complete, Vishesh Rupena Rag, this complete attachment, very deep, loving attachment to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. So, today is the disappearance day of beloved Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. Even in his name, what is his name? Narayan. What's the meaning? Nara means, you know, human being. And Ayan means shelter. So that personality, Narayan, he's giving shelter to all human beings. And Gurudev, he's giving complete shelter to all disciples, to all human beings, anyone and everyone he came in contact with. He's giving his heart so much affection. How he gave affection to each and every one of us. So many devotees are remembering. Actually, he would give affection to even whether one was his disciple, whether one was not his disciple from another guru, whether one was from another sampradaya, whether one was not in Vaishnava line at all. He was giving. So, Gurudev, he opened up his heart and he gave so much affection that our hearts melted. So one time, traveling with Gurudev, we went to Alachua, and Gurudev was staying in one house. And, you know, not always so easy to get Gurudev's personal darshan. You had to go in his room and speak with him. In the early days it was easier, then it got harder and harder. So, Gurudev was staying in this upstairs room, and Radhakanta Didi and I, we were thinking, one afternoon, let's go and see Gurudev. So then we thought, okay, there's Gurudev's personal guards Maharaja and Brajanaprabhu. So, how is it possible? Okay, we'll just wait and see. See if the coast is clear. So we're at the bottom of the stairs, and you can see Gurudev's room was on the right, and Maharaja Brajanaprabhu was staying in a room on the left. So we saw Maharaja going in and out of Gurudev's room, Brajanaprabhu going in and out. So we're just waiting for that opportunity. So then it came. Maharaja went out, didn't go back in. And then Brajanaprabhu went out, didn't go back in. And there was our opportunity. So then Radhakanti, Didi and I, like little children, like sneaked up the stairs, and we came to Gurudev's door. And I was saying to her, okay, you first. She was saying, no, you first. I said, okay. Knocked on Gurudev's door, little knock, nothing. Well, I could hear some voices. I thought, okay. Open the door a little bit. See Gurudev, he was there talking to other devotees. So then, Gurudev immediately looked up and he saw us. I thought, oh no, big chastisement. But he looked so bright and welcoming, and he smiled, a big smile. And he said, oh, come in. He said, you are welcome anytime. I sat down and he said, you are my darling daughters, and you can come here anytime. There is no restriction, there is no prohibition for you. No one can stop you from coming here. At that time, Brajanaprabhu was in the room, okay, and I was looking at Brajanaprabhu. He said, no one can stop you. Why? Because you are my darling daughters, and the door is always open for you. So at that time, our hearts just melted. Gurudev completely stole our hearts. But afterwards, I was thinking, what did Gurudev mean by his door is always open for us? Because in reality, his door was not always open. So I thought about it, and I thought, actually, Gurudev's heart is so big, actually unlimited. It's such a big heart. And the doors of his heart are always open for all of us. Not just Radhakanti, Didi and I, but all his sons and daughters. Is the meaning that even if we're not in Gurudev's physical presence, even after Gurudev's departed from this world, material vision, but still, the door to his heart is always open. So, Gurudev was so supremely affectionate and completely stole our hearts. So much so that we were always thinking about how to be with Gurudev, how to spend more time with Gurudev, how to go to Brajmandal Parikrama, how to go on tour with Gurudev, like this. So, actually, I was also thinking the other day that Gurudev, he was so affectionate and giving so much. Anyone who had any inkling towards learning Tapasidant, towards diving deep into the ocean of Bhakti Ras, then he would give so much. And so many gurus, acharyas, ISKCON, they came to him and they would literally sit at his lotus feet and they would ask so many questions. Some of those recordings are there for us to hear. So he gave so much, like a mother is giving breast milk to the baby sons or daughters, or like this, without any restriction. Even though he can see past, present, and future, so he would have known that later on they will leave me. They will leave me. They'll turn their backs on me. But still, even though that came to pass, what Gurudev gave, still somehow it infiltrated into that institution. Like that milk flowing. It had such an impact that even though the word Raganuga Bhakti or Radhe was like taboo, cannot say like this. But let devotees find themselves talking about Raganuga Bhakti, talking about spontaneous devotion. Even Radha Dasha. How Gurudev affected, even though he was completely denied, rejected, but how much he deeply affected. This is the glories of his divinely inspired preaching, that it will go to every nook and cranny of the world, and the various institutions. So what Gurudev was giving, this Raganuga Bhakti, Gurudev said, so many, they're giving Vaidhi Bhakti. Who is giving Raganuga Bhakti so openly? They're afraid to give what I am giving. But I am not afraid, I must give. So this Gurudev was planting the seed of this reed in all of our hearts. So, there's so many other things I wanted to say, but
Chara, you could speak for at least 2 weeks.
Anyway, just one very last thing. Okay. Gurudev was telling how we should all become completely absorbed in what he was giving, this nectar he was giving. The Radha Krishna Leela, Mahaprabhu Leela. How we can become absorbed like Gurudev. So, how can we become absorbed in our seva? So Gurudev gave one example one time. He said that Ramachandra told his story about how Gurudev one time came to visit the house of Ramachandra and his wife, Kalavati. And he was going up the stairs to their apartment, and he was saying, oh, how much further is it? And they were saying, oh, okay, not so far, Gurudev, not so much more, only a few more steps. Anyway, Ramachandra said, when you get there, you'll see the kitchen on the right, the deity room on the left, and there's room where you can rest there. So please, you go and rest. So Gurudev, he went, and he sat on the sofa. Ramachandra Prabhu was doing some deity service, and his wife was in the kitchen cooking for Gurudev. And she would go in and out, talking to Ramachandra Prabhu about, oh, what we should get from the market. Oh yes, we have to get this, we have to get that. And in the meantime, Gurudev was just sitting, chanting on the couch there. And they didn't even notice Gurudev. Then later on, after about an hour had gone by, Ramachandra turned round and he saw Gurudev. So, Gurudev, okay, have you rested well? Did you rest? Well, you feel rested? Gurudev said, rest? What rest? He said, I've been sitting here the whole time. Ramachandra and his wife were completely surprised. You've been sitting here the whole time? We didn't notice you? He was feeling so embarrassed. This is such an offense. But Gurudev said, no, I'm very happy. I'm very pleased with you. Actually, I want everyone to serve like you, to be completely absorbed like this, so much so you didn't even notice me sitting here. This is not an offense at all, this is very pleasing. So Gurudev then, he gave the example of the arrow maker. How the Dattatreya, Ramana had 24 gurus, and one of them was the arrow maker. And the arrow maker, he would sharpen the arrows of the king. And he would sit there, absorbed, sharpening those arrows. But one day, a big marriage party went by, and in India, that's not a small thing. Big marriage party means horses, band, very loud, so many people, singing, dancing. But he just continued with his service. He didn't notice. Then, later, one person said, "Oh, did you see that marriage party?" He said, "No, no. What marriage party?" You didn't notice it? The marriage party went by. No, I didn't notice. So like this, Gurudev said, we have to be so absorbed in our service, internally and externally. Not just externally, but internally. That we don't even notice what's going on around us. We don't even notice all the material distractions, what's going on in this world, nothing. So Gurudev said, I want you to be absorbed like that. So I'm far from it. And what Gurudev gave so much, I can only beg, pray and beg that even one drop of that can enter my heart. Srila Gurudev. Ki Jai!
4 hours later, and we have not even touched one drop of Gurudev's glories. There's so much more.
Start again.
Everybody?
What does it change around? If anybody needs to go.
It depends. How long should we do it for? 10 minutes. 10 minutes?
Hare Krishna. So, first of all, if everybody can move to a place where they can everybody see this screen here somehow? I think, OCG, you need to sit down on the floor, otherwise people can't see. You can't see past you.
Behind here.
Come over here.
What about for these people?
Vishnu, brother.
Or you can sit next to Saveshwari here. Look. Yeah, you can sit. So if you can sit down, because you might be standing in somebody's way. So there's a bit of...
You want to come more this way?
Briefly, I just thought I would show a few photographs that maybe some of you haven't seen before. So we're just going to go for 10 minutes. I actually selected 108 photographs, which could take quite a long time, but I didn't expect that we would go there.
Maybe 20 minutes.
So, and there was a bit of false advertising by Ramananda Prabhu that it was a preview for my book that I'm supposed to be making, which it isn't actually. It's actually the opposite of that, because it's all the pictures that are not in the book. Yes, that'll be another thing. So basically, what had happened, I'd written the whole thing that I was going to say, and then this morning I just thought, why don't I just show some photos? Because how much can we listen is our capacity to listen is not easy going. Yes. So, oh my God, so these are just, they're really random, and then actually I didn't put them in order because I only had the idea this morning that I was going to do this.
There's more room at the front.
and I've lost the little control that maybe moved them on. So, this is a very sweet picture. I'm just going to, some of the pictures are just because Gurudev looks so beautiful in the pictures, and some of them have like a little story attached. So, this one looks like it has a story attached actually. This is in 2010, and we're kind of like starting towards the end of Gurudev's touring. It's a random selection, so please excuse me for that. Some people can sit down here. Is everybody comfortable?
Yeah, nearly. Come on, we've got a few more.
You watch it on your phone. It's
Cello.
Cello.
If not, you can watch it on Facebook.
There's enough room for 10 people here.
There's a Bengali tent to go there.
You can watch from the window.
So this picture was taken in Russia in 2010. Yes, this is Russia. So I don't know if was anybody there in 2010 in Russia?
Yes, I was.
Was there? Maybe Chandrika was there. So those who were there would know that there was a huge forest fire problem in Russia at that time, and the festival was almost cancelled. There was a heat wave in Russia, and Russia's not designed for heat waves, it's designed for -20, -30 degrees. So when we arrived in Moscow, it was just stiflingly hot in the apartment we were staying with after we got off came off from the flight. And actually the festival had to be completely moved. The devotees had taken one site, but it had become so engulfed in smoke from these forest fires, because this smoke was over, it must have been hundreds of square miles. It was a huge thing. And so the devotees had to move the whole festival completely somewhere else. And then I think we had to wait a little while and then go to this site. And this was a very nice site, but still you could smell, there was like an acrid smoke smell in the air from the burning forests. And it made me think, I think it made devotees think, not necessarily just me, but this is like that verse, Samsara Dhavanavadida Loka, that Sri Guru, he extinguishes the blazing forest fire of material existence. So Srila Gurudev, even though it was so difficult for him to go there, and even though we know this was the last place that Srila Gurudev went on his tour before he left this world, still Srila Gurudev made so much effort to go to this place, and he found it very difficult because it was so hot to give classes and things, but he gave so many blessings to the devotees there. And in this picture you can see he's doing like a deity installation, a Purana Pratishta. And you can see there's a whole group of deities there on the table. And I've only just noticed the heart on the bed. So I think the pictures of Srila Gurudev are so powerful, and I know many people, including Sarveshwari, my wife. She was at first attracted to Gurudev through a picture. So the pictures of Haridas also, right? Okay. Because Sri Guru is also non-different from his photo, and as I think Prabhu was saying, I think Jagatanjali was saying that Gurudev said that if we sit in front of a picture of Srila Gurudev and look into his eyes and chant, then we can have that direct connection with Gurudev. So that's the 10 minutes over. So we'll go a bit faster now. Okay, so this is in the Philippines in about 2009, and this is Srila Gurudev writing. So you can see his. I want to explain that a bit. So there was another pastime connected to this, that there wasn't so much work coming through on these on this tour. This is in the Philippines, in Cebu, on the island of Cebu. So quite often Srila Gurudev, you could see that Gurudev would have to get completely set up to write. He would have to put his neck thing on. So one morning Gurudev came out, he put his neck thing on, he made his table, because he would do all this himself, and Madhav Maharaj would help. And he had this thing that went under his arm because of his back, and this and that. So one morning he came out there and he set himself all up to write. He took the pen, and then he looked at the Achyutananda Prabhu, and Achyuta said, "There's no work has come." So Gurudev was so disappointed that he couldn't do any seva on this day.
And he actually, Gurudev said at Chutananda Prabhu, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, well, what shall I do then? What am I supposed to do? There's no seva, what am I supposed to do? So actually Gurudev sat all day, this is not a picture from that time, but Gurudev sat all day and read the songbook. So how important is the songbook? There was no work coming through from India. Because Gurudev, the piece of A4 that you can see, Gurudev would go through that and make corrections, which would be put into the books by Chutananda Prabhu. And those papers, they would come from India as translations. So that's Gurudev's lunch.
Yeah,
So you got a couple of types of dal. You've got jackfruit sabji there in the middle upper. You've got like a spinach there above that. Karela. And anybody hungry yet? That was my cooking. Yeah. So that's a nice picture of Srila Gurudev talking to Maharaja and Chutananda Prabhu on the balcony there in Philippines. More food.
And you cooked that?
Oh, wow. That's Gurudev. He's listening to, I think he's talking to somebody actually. He's on Skype. Oh my God. So I hope Achuta's still got those headphones. That's just a beautiful picture of Gurudev. I thought it looks like he's looking at somebody and he's making some kind of, I'm not sure what's happening there. That's another one in the Philippines.
Oh, that's nice.
Maharaja also writing there. That's the same photo actually. Sorry. Oh, that was my spice box. Anyway, that's another story. This was also in Cebu at that time, and Gurudev used to love, as many of you know, to walk on the beach in the morning, and he also used to like to take bath here in the ocean at lunchtime. That's Gurudev leaving Cebu. Oh my God. It's like family photos, isn't it? When your granddad comes around and bores you to death with family photos. Okay, so that's an altar that was made for Srila Gurudev in Malaysia, I think that was. More food, more prashad.
Would you like to come for a visit?
I like that one because it's sitting in the back of the car and it says Needville. And the need is the pure devotee there. That was in Texas, near Houston. Nice picture of Gurudev. That's in Australia. We stayed with a devotee called Dr. T. Anybody remember Dr. T? Tamal Krishna. And that was a wonderful stay we had there. Yes, the magician. Oh yes, that's back in Mauritius. This is in Mauritius, actually. And this boy was getting his head shaved, and Gurudev was trying to talk him into getting his head shaved. And he's offering Gurudev his lollipop. So I thought that was quite cute. There's an R factor on that one. That's just a beautiful picture of Srila Gurudev explaining something to some ladies who were there in Mauritius. This is very poignant for this day because you can see the appearance day is Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj. So this is 1 year before Srila Gurudev left this world, and Gurudev was celebrating the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj, who is so near and dear to Srila Gurudev that Gurudev left this world on Srila Vaman Maharaj's appearance day. And I think we've got to have a whole other day, right, to glorify Srila Vaman Maharaj?
One time, a couple times he hinted that he would leave when they left, right? You know that story?
Yes.
But he tricked us and left when...
Yes, because Trivikram Maharaj and Srila Vaman Maharaj left on the same day during Kartik.
Yeah.
So I remember that day in Kartik in 2010, and everybody was coming in and doing so many Srila mantras and so many prayers.
Every year, everybody would get nervous on that day.
Yes,
you know.
Yes. So this was 1 year before, and you can see that they're doing pranam to his and doing arti to Srila Vaman Maharaj. That's just a really nice picture. I think that's also in Mauritius. Gurudev chanting. This was a morning walk in New Zealand. This was. Everybody got to go on the morning walk. All the men, sorry, got to go on the morning walk. But the ladies will meet Guru at the end. This was also in New Zealand, I think. It's Gurudev in the airport. that is in Singapore. These devotees are actually from they're Brajbasis, but they moved to Singapore, so Gurudev always made a point of going to stay with them. They're a really sweet family. And that's their little boy. He's probably grown up by now. It's a sweet photo. And you can see this flower garland that Srila Gurudev is wearing here. These are bakula flowers. And they're very, very tiny, but very fragrant. And weeks and months after, I don't know if anybody was fortunate enough to be given one of these garlands of Srila Gurudev, but it's probably still fragrant to this day. But Gurudev used to take those garlands and put them under his pillow and sleep because of the beautiful fragrance. And bakula is a flower that is spiritual in the spiritual world.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, the ones hanging down. Yeah, they're so tiny. And we found them actually in Navadvip this visit, near to Devananda Gaudiya Mat. There's a bakula tree, and you can find them all over the floor there. Oh, this was Christmas, actually. You've probably seen this one on Facebook.
No, what is he holding?
It's like a little mirror, like a compact. Like the family we were staying with in Penang, they decided to do Christmas for Gurudev. So they gave Gurudev presents, and Gurudev's opening his presents, and that was one of them. And
And you got some of his foot at the bottom.
oh yes, yes. And I think even I got a present. Oh, and this is Gurudev in Malaysia, and in Penang, at the back. And this is Vijay, Krishna Prabhu. And he was expert at finding jackfruit. And he's presenting one jackfruit there that he's found. And he even in his eagerness to get jackfruit, he went to the local police station, and they had a jackfruit tree in the car park. And he climbed up the police station jackfruit tree, and he was up there picking jackfruits and then sneaking back down and running away with them. So he thought that was his mission, to get jackfruit to do that. That's just a beautiful picture, sitting in the garden. I think that's actually in South Africa. We're going all over the place here, but Gurudev went all over the place. Oh, that's Baja.
Yeah.
And Gurudev's doing his exercise there. At the end, and everybody's watching. Yeah, I think there is one of the cows.
That's Badger too.
That's Baja. And
Nirahari
Nirahari looks blissed out by having his nose touched by Gurudev's hat there. There's the cows that used to come and see Gurudev.
They used to, normally those cows would run away when people came, or when Gurudev came, they would run towards.
So this is actually in Italy, after Italy Festival, I think maybe 2008 or 9, then we went to a place, and Gurudev did his morning walk here, and he would sit here and chant japa in the middle of nowhere in the countryside. And that's Gurudev walking and chanting. That photo might go in the book, actually.
So there is a book.
There is a book, but it's mostly everybody else's photos. You can't really see that one. Sridhar Maharaj. That's in Baja, I think. That's in San Francisco Airport with, what's her name? Madhavi. Kalimba, yes. Ramachandra. This was also in San Francisco, and Gurudev was teaching the devotees how to chant Yashomati Nandana. I think the video is on my YouTube channel, I think. Have a look. He kept stopping us and saying no, like this. Because Gurudev was an expert Kirtaniya. So some very sweet photos. That one's very sweet. And unfortunately the bottom is cut off, but you can see, I don't know why it's cut off like that, but you can see Gurudev's feet. Or maybe, oh no, it's this one. Yes. So there's a nice picture of Gurudev's feet. Actually, Gurudev didn't like pictures only of his feet. Some people, if you keep pictures of just Gurudev's feet, actually didn't like it. But I think feet attached, that's okay.
We love it.
Oh, that was probably a naughty one that I shouldn't have taken. Gurudev taking breakfast, eating alfalfa there. That's fake money that someone had given to Umadidi. And Umadidi thought it was real and gave it to Gurudev. Because it's like $2,008.
She thought it was real.
She thought it was real, and she looked at it, and she couldn't believe how much money somebody had given her, and she immediately just gave it to Gurudev. So he's holding on to it there, and he's talking to somebody. That's a nice one.
Oh my
God. That's Father's Day in San Francisco again, in a hotel. I think you might have been there. There was a big meeting. This is in Miami, Gurudev eating breakfast. I did get in trouble actually for taking pictures of Gurudev taking prasad, honouring prasad. And